Part 48. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 482. 459. Once Natalia and the three-ring magicians Zai Wei went to the deep-sea plane to explore, and several powerful masters of the ranks successfully saved the third apostle of Zai Wei, Freya. The feelings of the two it is also sublimating on the bottom of the sea and eventually becomes a happy lover. Full text reading. However, in many subsequent adventures, Zai Wei chose to travel alone. When Natalia was chatting with Zai Wei on the bed, he always told him what he saw and heard during the trip, and she was impressed. The most profound is the two strongest people in Pai Li, the Lord of Music Sophie and the Lord of the Morning Ulixia. All the time, Natalia knows that the upper limit of the profession is legend. Entering the legendary field seems to have reached the limit of mortal, and it is no longer possible to continue to break through. But from the mouth of Zai Wei, she only knows that there are still sanctuaries on the top of the legend, and that they have crossed the last threshold and began to unite their beliefs, in order to ignite the gods and gods to prepare for the gods. The Master of Music and the Lord of the Morning is such a strong, and more importantly, they are still beautiful and temperament beauty. This makes Natalia so excited, her eyes are more open, and one day she will step into the Master Way, legend, sanctuary from the paradigm, and finally challenge the constellation above the starry sky. Natalia, the first 4 editions of the Par Daily, has been kept, although for the Princess Lucia who chose to come to Violet as an exchange student, it is accurate that her cousin has some colds but not music. The Lord and the Lord of the Morning have always had a very appreciative attitude and are looking forward to meeting them soon. For Princess Lucia, Natalia gave birth to a vigilant and wary heart, because the Lucia princess, such as Qiujian and Zai Wei, established a good intimate relationship, which may threaten her and Zai Wei's future marriage. This is absolutely unacceptable to her. After talking to Zai Wei for more than a year of love, Natalia found that she could not stand the life without Zai Wei. He is mature and humorous, has a strong sense of professionalism, and supports himself. It can be said that Zai Wei is the best and most suitable lover that Natalia has encountered. This is the blessing of the Lord of Glory. The woman who appears in front of me is the kind of woman who can only ignore her radiance even if she is standing there quietly. A strong warmth and bright energy are affecting everything around me. If there is a slight disease or wound, people, as long as they are close to her, can be cured in an instant. She is one of the 2 people that Natalia wants to see most of her morning lord, Ulixia. The power of mankind naturally has its limits. Even the most powerful warrior Alexander of the Orient continent has been trapped by the strong iron gate of the city of Corsac, and most of the casualties have been lost. Ulixia moderately said, when the comrades arrive at the end, they also need to have more understanding of the world, develop their own spiritual potential, and gain the power to compete with magicians, pastors, and other races. You have reached a limit to the exercise of the body. The most peak before the master. What you lack is the exploration of the potential of the soul. I feel that your soul has been honed a while ago, you already have it. Great wealth, but you don't know how to use it. Ulixia walked up to Natalia and her face burst into a big smile, but I have enough experience in this area to give you are inspired. Please also give me more advice. Natalia bowed respectfully. She is not the kind of person who does not accept the ancients, does not accept any guidance and help, and only depends on her own growth, not to mention that this is from a demigod. The guidance of the strong, a rare opportunity. A lot of my own growth experience can't be used to point you, but I used to come across the sea from the far-flung Shenzhou mainland, and created a sect in Orient to let the monk's profession appear on the mainland. There has been a communication between Yungxiao and Lu. The Shenzhou people have a unique way to tap the potential of the soul. Although it is completely different from the magicians and blood aristocrats of Orient, it is closer to nature and caters to the rules. Is the master of the martial arts Holy Land of Junzong who built the Black Sea in the end of the East Golden Sea. Natalia really showed an excited look. I heard that he is already alive more than 600 years old. This is a bad age among the comrades, and only the most powerful magicians of the mortal can compare with him. Shenzhou is connected with the mainland of Orient, but it is a mysterious world. The dragon's vitality is locked up. Only a few Chinese people can leave the mainland of China through the lock of the economy, but they will never be able to return. And many powerful existences, including me, have tried to unlock the secrets of the enchantment, but no one can succeed. Eurykia looked up at the distant east. If the person of the Shenzhou people worships the dragon is really alive, he must be a true god. The times are progressing, including the ancient blood knights who have begun to use the breathing method to cultivate the gas in the body to fight, and what I want to tell you belongs to the unique breathing method of the Yungxiao Rongda master, mountains and sea. Mountain and the sea, Natalia asked inexplicably. It's like a mountain, it's as vast as the sea. Yulicha smiled. I'm a good friend with Yungxiao Luda. I'm pointing out how he used his infuriating in Oran in the Return of the Special Continent. He told me this breathing method, but for my special existence, there is only some reference meaning, and I will tell you today. Eulizia is the first light in the world of Orient. Although she is now a human figure, she is never a person in nature. Therefore, her personal achievements and growth path cannot be copied. She cannot teach to Natalia. During the speech, a thought has been passed from Eulizia to Natalia. It is the unique breathing method of the great master Yun Yun, the highest inheritance of all the monks' dreams, mountains and sea. Natalia's mind was filled with a lot of mysterious scenes filled with artistic conception. It was the process of the great master Yun Yun flowing in the mountains and seas to understand the evolution of the mountain and the sea. If her soul level has just been refined and sublimated by 11 way in the endless meditation through the soul trial, she is still unable to accept this inheritance. The Shenzhou native named Yungxiao Lu, who established the great master of Yunzong in the mainland of Orient, can be said to be one of the most legendary warriors on the mainland of the Orient continent for nearly 300 years. When he left the Shenzhou mainland by the enchantment, he was already a monk master, equivalent to a legendary warrior. He experienced a very rich adventure in the earliest period when he came to the mainland of the continent, almost all over the whole. The mainland has challenged countless powerful warriors and finally won the horrific record of 354 wins and 5 defeats. Among the strategists he challenged were many powerful blood knights. At that time, the founder of the Rhineland, the Duke of Reinhardt, who had entered the sanctuary, also fought with the Cloud Master, although he occupied the upper hand, but still cannot beat this magical Shenzhou. Yungxiao Flower traveled around the Orient continent for a full 50 years, and finally broke through the last major barrier. He was promoted to become a great monk who was extremely rare even in the mainland of China. He eventually rejected the recruitment of many kings and lords. Returning to the first stop on the mainland of Orient, the first place in the mainland, the establishment of the Yunzong, began to teach the way of the monk. Yungxiao Luda master has a profound influence on the mainland of Orient. He publicized the mystery of qi and breathing, and found the grassroots and ordinary people who are not bloodborne and found the third in addition to the blood knight and magician. The road is also the easiest way to rely on efforts to achieve a road. The soldiers finally became a profession after mastering the breathing method. 300 years have passed, and among the professionals in the mainland of Europe, the various warriors add up to a total of more than 70%, which makes the prestige and momentum of Yungxiao flow even higher to a peak. Known as one of the most powerful warriors of Orient, no one. However, this great master has the philosophy of indifferent to fame and fortune that belongs to the Shenzhou people. Therefore, he has been staying in Yungxiao zone, on the outskirts of Kingsburg, and has never been involved in the trend of the mainland. Natalia is very intelligent. If she chooses the magic road, it will not be much more than her sister Meryl. The strong blood of her wind and the blood of the golden lion will lay a very solid for her brilliant future foundation. Originally, her growth required a long enough time, but mountain and sea, The unique breathing method of this cloud and stream master is finally like the enzyme in the chemical reaction, which greatly catalyzed Natalia's promotion speed. Natalia's whole spirit was completely filled with the void in her heart. She stood there quietly, with a serene atmosphere. The anxiety and confusion on the original itself had disappeared. Her heart had naturally calmed down. The image of the Yungxiao Longda master is constantly flashing in her mind, and in this case she began to learn about mountain and sea. Looking at Natalia, who has already begun to feel completely still, Ulixia showed a happy smile. If she did not misread, this Natalia had a great influence on Ziwei. May become his future wife. Even after the influence of Ziwei was abandoned, Ulixia had already perceived the blood of the golden lion flowing in her blood, the blood of the French royal family. Princess Olivia was married to Corsica because she could not awaken the blood of the golden lion, but the blood of the golden lion in Natalia is so vibrant, powerful, and natural, just like the first French king. How did Natalia complete the awakening of the golden lion's blood? Has this kind of reversal that has never been done for hundreds of years? Those who have the inheritance of the golden lion's blood will naturally have the possibility of boarding the French throne. This is the most primitive and undeniable ancient jurisprudence. Ulysses squinted her eyes, revealing a thoughtful expression. Natalia was here for a full 7 days. During these 7 days, she turned into a sculpture, motionless, and did not eat or drink. 11 I carefully observed the situation of Natalia and found that her soul fluctuations are regularly increasing, and the barriers of the Master's card are slowly weakening. This is a very optimistic phenomenon, so Ziwei told the maids not to disturb Natalia's practice, and then returned to the Smurfs. After completing the second phase of Arcane and the work of the first issue of Magic, the focus of Ziwei's work has shifted. The advancement of the Arcane era is proceeding in an orderly manner. The most important thing for Ziwei is now and the Church of the Morning. Cooperation and analysis of the Dark Parliament. But before that, Ziwei had to solve a problem, otherwise he could not leave Violet Island, that is, the sixth apostle abducted from the North Witch Parliament, Princess Sergei of Allendale. In a sense, Scarlet masters the origin of ice and snow, this kind of power that approximates the water elements of the 4 elements, and belongs to the same level of existence of the Morning Lord of the Light Source, Ulixia. But Scarlet's situation is obviously more troublesome. The source of ice and snow in her body is completely unaware, just like the glaciers under the sea only reveal a corner. She did not retain her memory and wisdom, but simply lived as a 12-year-old girl. It can be said that fortunately, she has been sent to the North Witches' Parliament for the strictest protection from the beginning of the 3-year-old vision. Otherwise, the various visions caused by her powerful source will inevitably lead to some evils. The shackles of the strong. Ziwei can only temporarily place her in a safe and concealed place in the Smurfs' plane, accompanied by Meryl, and give guidance, but Scarlet's ice and snow source is still causing various kinds of the vision, although the elemental ocean greatly attenuates the aggression of this vision, but each day the vision is constantly upgrading. Just as Ziwei had just confirmed that Natalia's safety was once again returned to the Smurf plane, the sea of elements that had been calm had once again set off a storm, and the temperature dropped sharply. The temple priests of the elemental Holy Land had to wear thick the robes blocked the originally opened doors and windows. The sky has become dark and yin, dark clouds cover the sun, heavy snow flies, and very bad weather. Who can think of it, all that is actually only a 12-year-old girl unconsciously caused. In a warm and comfortable room in the Holy Land, Scarlet, dressed in the robes of the priests of the trainee temple, looked up at the bad weather outside the window, and the brows wrinkled tightly. She has already got rid of the image of a stunted little girl, and Meryl, who has become gentle and mature, is standing behind her, putting a blue silk woven shoulder pad on her. To be continued. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 483. Meryl's sister, is Scarlet an ominous person? I will always bring snow and storm to the surrounding area, freezing countless cattle and sheep, and letting the countless father's subjects endure coldness and hunger. Scarlet's melancholy said. This is not what you intentionally created. Your body and soul contain enormous potential. As long as you can master them, it will not only harm others, but also help more people. Zywei Tutor will definitely help you master this potential. Meryl squatted down, smoothing Scarlet's frowning brow. Gentle comfort. I hope so, Scarlet responded with a slap in the face. At this moment, Zywei appeared in front of the two people. He smiled with a gentle smile. What happened? My little princess was sullen. Zywei mentor, when can I not continue to bring ice and disaster to the surrounding? Scarlet looked forward to looking at Zywei, and the first impression that Zywei had left for her was too after the shock. The blue giant bird that soared between the heavens and the earth called for the hurricane's heroic attitude to shine too much. For you, this is a burden, but it is also a valuable asset. Zywei finally made up his mind. Scarlet, if you want to master this power that belongs to you, you must cooperate with me. After completing the analysis and exploration of it, this process may be painful. I hope you can stick to it. I am not afraid of pain. The little girl glared at her big eyes and responded earnestly, I only hope to live in the sun with peace of mind. If the legendary ranks come to the peak of mortals from the level of soul, spiritual strength, or physical tyranny, then the sanctuary has begun to cross the limits of mortals. Master the field, and the power of each field will be physically gathering the holy mark. When the holy mark is activated, he is the king of the field. The power of the source is the ability to go far beyond the realm of the world. This kind of power can only be touched by the gods, and the gods can grasp it. Even the Lord of the Morning, the light source she has mastered and the light source of the entire Orient world can only be regarded as a drop in the ocean. If anyone can fully grasp the power of a certain source of the world, I am afraid even in the gods. It is also a strong presence. Although Zywei has zero help, he has not yet reached the legendary level. He does not have much confidence in the analysis of the source, especially the light source he has never touched before. But the elements are different. His in-depth exploration of the mysteries of the elements has made him one of the most understanding of the mysteries of the elements in the world. Scarlet in front of him has the power of the elemental attribute of ice and snow, just like a bridge connected to the sky that could not be reached. Originally, Zywei's attitude towards Scarlet was slowly cultivated. She did not have to rush for the original exploration. She was still too young and her strength was very weak. In the process of analyzing the source, any accident would cause damage to her. But now, Zywei has a reason to speed up. He must first accumulate experience and open up the exploration of Scarlet's ice and snow. The morning sun, Eulasia, is waiting for him to go to the Notre Dame of Par. There will be even more daunting challenges. Meryl, you have to prepare, open the secret room in the ocean of elements. Zywei has never been an indecisive person. Soon, Zywei took Scarlet's hand and sent it to the secret room in the ocean of elements. It is the most concentrated center of the Smurfs plane, and the safest and most undisturbed place. Meryl quietly sat on the edge of the secret room, quietly watching this ice and snow source exploration journey. Zywei's trust in her has reached the point where almost all important things are not hidden, and she has never been live up this trust. Communicating with the origin of ice and snow, Zywei naturally has special skills. He once again fully elements the body, this time turned into the embodiment of water element, water. Compared with the blue-colored peng flying above the sky and the red flame phoenix born in the fire, the water and the corresponding oxen corresponding to the water element look very common. Water is a blue-colored water elemental polymer, like a big blue-headed doll with short limbs and round eyes that look very cute. The size of the water is almost the same as that of Scarlet. This makes the little girl like the sprouting water at first sight. She instinctively senses a kindness. It is the power of ice and snow for the water elements of Zywei. The avatar is kind. Scarlet in the eyes of 11 Wei, who was incarnate in the water, finally changed her appearance. Her soul and blood were solidified to the extreme ice cold. This extreme cold was enough to kill most of the life, but still surprised her. Keep the life fresh. A huge treasure house of ice and snow is unfolding in front of Ziwei. This is the source of snow and ice in Scarlet. It is linked to the whole of the Orient world. It is enough to help the limit of the vicissitudes of Ziwei, and to observe and analyze the world from another angle. This is a very rare opportunity, but it is also full of unknown challenges. While exploring the mystery of ice and snow, Ziwei must also protect Scarlet from accidents. He slowly transforms his water elements into ice and snow. Try to match the strength of Scarlet. Ziwei's mastery of the elements has reached the level of purity of the fire. After the elemental inscriptions have been solved, the elemental spells have been mastered. He quickly transformed his water into a pure ice and snow, blue water. It also became pale in the snow. Elemental traction, Scarlet has closed her eyes. She is letting go of the control of the body. The power of the latent ice and snow has been dragged by the magic of Ziwei and has become more active. The temperature in the air is dropping at a very fast rate, and it quickly breaks through 0 degrees and spreads towards 0. Meryl had to set up a thermostatic barrier around her body to protect herself. The entire chamber was quickly covered with frost, and all the facilities and furniture turned into white snow. Ziwei guides all these lives. The origin of ice and snow is getting closer and closer to him, getting closer and closer, a little stranger, and a little kind. Ziwei strives to reconcile his own elemental characteristics, and strives to fit the ice and snow, avoiding the last trace. Resist. Scarlet began to look white, her brows were wrinkled, and she was resisting this pain. The local witches' parliament has always used a repressive way to stop the growth of her body, but this time Ziwei adopted a completely different approach to induction. The power of ice and snow in Scarlet's body seems to have been hungry for many days. The strong man rushed into the hotel, eagerly taking the water elements of the surrounding space, and the vast elements of the ocean's water elements poured into the chamber, pouring into the room. Carrie's body. This process lasted for a long time, and Meryl, who was watching it, took out a special thermometer, and the temperature in the chamber had dropped to -198 degrees. In this extremely cold temperature, even steel has become very fragile, and the flesh and blood will die in an instant, but Meryl's pain on Scarlet's face has disappeared. Instead, it's a heartfelt comfort and joy, as if you are enjoying the hot springs. The continuous guidance of Ziwei and the perfusion element at all costs finally activated the snow and ice source in Scarlet. In the real magic eyes of Ziwei, Scarlet in front of it has become a pure ice cold, blue and white staggered. The energy level has come out of the scope of the legendary 9-ring spell. The water system of Ziwei's incarnation slowly approached this piece of pure ice cold, and felt the temperature of the ice and snow close to the absolute 0. However, the incarnation of Ziwei has already adapted enough to this cold. In the end, Ziwei finally approached this completely blooming source of ice and snow, so close observation of the distance, no obstacles. Obviously, the source of ice and snow is really the core level of the Orient world. It is impossible to simulate any magical magic. Even the legendary 9-ring snow and ice spells are impossible to reduce the ambient temperature to absolute 0. The inscriptions on the elements of Ziwei's compilation have completely lost their effect on the origin of the ice and snow. This is a sufficient force to seal the origin of the gods. The level is sufficient, but the quantity is too small. This rare treasure, Ziwei is like a spectator standing in the museum exhibition hall, can only observe at a close distance, but cannot play through the tempered glass. The ice and snow water of the incarnation of Ziwei is still intrinsically different from the origin of the snow and ice. It looks similar and cannot be mixed. Ziwei once again transforms his body into the fifth element, the ether. At this moment, the situation has finally changed. The original snow and ice source finally let go of the final barrier. The etheric body of Ziwei's incarnation is integrated into it, and the final analysis stage begins. This is a wonderful adventure. It completely covers all the secrets of ice and snow. For Ziwei, it is simply the magical creation of nature. The overlapping and construction of the elements has given Ziwei too much. This is the magical work of nature. It is the highest level of elemental transformation and energy use. Ziwei is only an analysis of the traces of ice and snow in Scarlet. It has learned too much knowledge and ideas that are completely different from the inscriptions of the elements. For his own elementary school legend, the magician achievement is of great help. Ziwei wants to create an arcane age. In the process, he has become an arcane master. He has his own arguments and analysis for all unknown knowledge and theory. Although he is eagerly absorbing the mystery of ice and snow, he still has the mystery of ice and snow. Ziwei has never given up the mystery of using the theory of arcane to analyze and demonstrate the power of the source. While analyzing the mystery of ice and snow, Ziwei has always been distracted to pay attention to the state of Scarlet. The ice and snow origins are awakened from sleep, and after being absorbed by a large amount of water elements in the ocean of elements, this active force is by no means strong. It is only a magical master of Scarlet. However, after the wake of the ice and snow, it infuriated into Scarlet's brain like an instinct, and began to strengthen her soul and heart lake. The origin of ice and snow is the existence of symbiosis with Scarlet. This is an intensified way that Ziwei can't understand. Scarlet's soul has been sublimated and shaped, and Xinhu has become a meandering snow castle. Just like Allendale's winter snow palace. The etherification of Ziwei can contact and analyze the source of ice and snow at a close distance, but he can't control the source of ice and snow. Even if the power of this source is so slight, it has its own master, that is, the little princess Sigia Korea. For this point, Ziwei is not regrettable. The power of the source can be said to be above the legend and the sanctuary. The power of the semi-god strong can begin to contact. It is already a chance for Tianyi to have an opportunity to analyze it. As long as you can grow up step by step, you will eventually finish your control. P.S. Still 500 words have not been written, have been changed, but also hope to forgive. Meryl's sister, is Scarlet an ominous person? I will always bring snow and storm to the surrounding area, freezing countless cattle and sheep, and letting the countless father's subjects endure coldness and hunger, Scarlet's melancholy said. This is not what you intentionally created. Your body and soul contain enormous potential. As long as you can master them, it will not only harm others, but also help more people. Ziwei Tutor will definitely help you master this potential. Meryl squatted down, smoothing Scarlet's frowning brow. Gentle comfort. I hope so, Scarlet responded with a slap in the face. At this moment, Ziwei appeared in front of the two people. He smiled with a gentle smile. What happened? My little princess was sullen. Ziwei Mentor, when can I not continue to bring ice and disaster to the surrounding? Scarlet looked forward to looking at Ziwei, and the first impression that Ziwei had left for her was it's too shocking. The cyan giant bird that flies between the heavens and the earth calls for the hurricane's heroic attitude to shine too much. For you, this is a burden, but it is also a valuable asset. Ziwei finally made up his mind. Scarlet, if you want to master this power that belongs to you, you must cooperate with me. After completing the analysis and exploration of it, this process may be painful. I hope you can stick to it. I am not afraid of pain, the little girl glared at her big eyes and responded earnestly, I only hope to live in the sun with peace of mind. If the legendary ranks come to the peak of mortals from the level of soul, spiritual strength, or physical tyranny, then the sanctuary has begun to cross the limits of mortals, master the field, and the power of each field will be physically gathering the holy mark. When the holy mark is activated, he is the king of the field. The power of the source is the ability to go far beyond the realm of the world. This kind of power can only be touched by the gods, and the gods can grasp it. Even the Lord of the Morning, the light source she has mastered and the light source of the entire Orient world can only be regarded as the Bohai. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 484. What kind of research have you been doing recently? I am very interested to take a look for the disciples of Yang and Meryl. Ziwei never limits their field of magic research, a truly powerful arcane master, never impossible. Only limited to a narrow field, limited to a certain school, and the strength of the family, in order to innovate and climb to a higher level. The new characteristics of lightning in a steady state, very interesting topic. Ziwei seriously read it. This paper is not long, but it has very meticulous experimental ideas. Meryl made a simple elemental reaction power supply and wire through experiments, made the most primitive circuit, and conducted a preliminary exploration of the voltage, current, and resistance units, a very forward-looking paper. Masters who have always mastered lightning spells are very rare. Lightning spells are very difficult to manipulate and often paralyze the caster itself, and this paralysis is simply a side effect that any caster can't stand. Lightning spells are also powerful and difficult to manipulate killing spells. No one has ever tried to make a steady current. Until Ziwei published a paper on the inaugural issue of Arcane, it began to have a lot of eyes. This field. Meryl is undoubtedly the most enthusiastic person in the vision of Ziwei. She was promoted to a high-level magician by the guidance of the construction queen Diza in the tower of the high-definition equipment. She is best at elemental school spells. She began to explore in depth the ideas of Ziwei in the paper, and this paper is the result of her research for more than a month. Although there are still some immature, but, Ziwei made an evaluation. This is a very valuable study, Meryl. I think this will be a huge project. The true charm of lightning is coming to me, but I can't be as successful as the mentor. I am a little confused about the specific direction. Hearing the praise of Ziwei, Meryl was very happy, but she still raised her own confusion. It is completely understandable that in the coming, the mastery and application of lightning will become a mainstream, and it will completely change the lifestyle of most people in the near future. Ziwei patted Meryl's shoulder, locating the characteristics of lightning, focusing on each feature, defining their names, and trying to use lightning energy in depth. This will be a very valuable frontier, and you, now, stand with many people on the same starting line. Whether you can harvest the final victory fruit depends on your efforts. I will seize this opportunity. Meryl solemnly responded that the new development of the magic field will be accompanied by great academic value, and the researchers themselves will also be greatly improved at the level of the magician. Can independently complete the analysis of the nature of lightning characteristics as a 5-ring magician. I am afraid that in the future, I can even complete the challenge of the master's certificate with this. Arcane research is also a competition. Many people in the whole of the Orient continent have paid attention to the field of lightning. Whoever can make the most valuable research results first will receive rich rewards and great fame. For the study of lightning characteristics, Ziwei can be said to be the most forward-looking, but this field is still too narrow, belonging to the branch of the elemental school, with strong application value, but the theoretical value will not bring too much for itself. Upgrade. The future of Ziwei is already a legendary field, as well as the sanctuary and demigod above. The exploration of the mystery of the origin will be more helpful to him in understanding the nature of the Orient world. This is his current research direction. But for Meryl, this will be a very rich treasure. If she can completely dig out the value, she will not only be promoted to the magic master by virtue of her achievements in the field of lightning spells, but she can even grow up and be promoted in the future. Legendary casters are not impossible. Therefore, Ziwei will give Meryl enough support and encouragement in his own way. I hope she can grasp this rare opportunity and get a rapid growth. Scarlet's body of ice and snow is still transforming her soul and body. This transformation is gentle, her strength is awakening. This is a great inheritance comparable to the destiny, the future of Scarlet. It is really limitless. But her ice and snow source will also limit her growth. Scarlet will have natural resistance to other spells, elements and strength. She will be more pure. Ziwei's research on the origin of ice and snow is in urgent need of precipitation. Due to the 4 times of time of the Smooth Plane, it has become the best place to study and think. Meryl can get so much growth in such a short time. It is thanks to the time spent in the Smurfs for a long time. The elemental inscription originally edited by Ziwei is up to the level of the 7-ring spell. The combination of the 8-ring and 9-ring elemental spells is still blank. Although Ziwei has been able to display a variety of 8-ring spells, and even legendary spells in extreme cases, but strictly speaking, he is not an 8-ring magic master. After choosing this path, each step of the promotion of Ziwei must be completed after the completion of the compilation of the inscription system of the corresponding level of the spell system. It can be said that as long as the major spell schools that Ziwei himself understand are immature, it is impossible to promote the legend. Whether it's a spell of any school, it's getting closer to the core mystery than the master. It's a very difficult project that requires long-lasting research and key inspiration to make a little breakthrough. Even Ziwei can't easily edit the inscriptions of the 8-ring spell. However, this time, the analysis of the origin of snow and ice in Scarlet finally brought a glimmer of light to the work of Ziwei. The use of elemental energy in the origin of ice and snow is the most primitive and essential use of the world in the Orient world. This is human. It is impossible to contact the observed deep phenomena, just like the undercurrents under the earth, the lava in the center of the earth. Who knows where they come from and where they will go? However, Ziwei did it. Although there were only 2 minutes of close contact and analysis time, this was enough. In the analytical exploration of zero cooperation, the original chaotic 8-ring spell element inscription finally gradually revealed the prototype. In the 7-ring magical stage, Ziwei compiled thousands of elemental spells into 16 high-level elemental inscriptions corresponding to the 4 basic elements. In the initial prediction of Ziwei, the next level should be directly integrated into the 4 major, the ultimate inscription of the 4 elements of each of the basic elements. But there is a very difficult barrier to overcome between the two, and it is difficult to make breakthrough progress. But this time, Ziwei found the direction. Thanks to the way of using the elemental energy observed from the ice and snow source, Ziwei will try a semi-active semi-fixed way to bridge a combined elemental inscription, and these elemental inscriptions will correspond to 8-ring elemental spells, setting up a bridge from 16 high-order element inscriptions to 4 ultimate elemental inscriptions. After completing the promotion master, Ziwei has not been as happy as it is today. He has made breakthrough progress again. He has conducted more in-depth research on the mystery of the elements. Although it is not the mystery of the ether, it helps him to the 4 basic elements. The understanding is deeper and lays a firmer foundation for his future growth. Inspired by the analysis of the origin of ice and snow, Ziwei first completed the bridging integration of the 4 high-level inscriptions of water elements, and the corresponding 2 8-ring inscriptions have been completed. The 2 inscriptions of the 8-ring water elements have opposite natures and correspond to each other, just like a yin-yang taiji fish generally echoes. 2 8-ring inscriptions are equivalent to 2 8-ring elemental spells, Frost and Cold Prison and Water of Vitality. The former's frosty bitterness hits the soul, bringing the sorrow of a large area of death. The ice will sweep across the earth. If this spell is cast by Ziwei, it will never be inferior to the power of the legendary 9-ring magic. The latter condenses the true meaning of tolerance and healing in the water. It can be used to save the bones and save the dead. It can make an exhausted warrior instantly recover the full combat power. These 2 spells are completely created by Ziwei, and they are close to the elemental source of the Orient world. They have been compiled and integrated by Zaiwei in the form of elemental inscriptions. It can be said to be a very great pioneering work. The 8 ring inscriptions corresponding to the 3 elements of the earth, fire, and wind have not yet been completed. Since there is no corresponding source analysis, the speed of this research will inevitably slow down. However, Zaiwei's research on the mystery of the etheric is very deep. The 4 basic elements can be freely converted in the hands of Zaiwei. The only 3 elements of the 8 ring inscriptions are only needed for the time. Zaiwei has been inspired and found direction. When Zaiwei completed the integration and compilation of all the 8 ring inscriptions, he will be promoted to the 8 ring masters without any suspense, one step closer to the legendary field. However, an important news interrupted the research work of Zaiwei. His girlfriend, Natalia, finally woke up from the world of one person and completed the challenge of the master certificate. When Zaiwei saw Natalia again, she found that she seemed to have completely changed herself. She used to have a fresh girl charm, although she was somewhat masculine due to her growing experience, but overall it was a more relaxed style. But now Natalia, standing in front of Zaiwei, is like a quaint pine tree standing on the vast mountain. It naturally brings a kind of conviction that is trustworthy and respectful. Her blue eyes have become like a vast ocean, and the depth of the whole person has not bottomed out. The momentum of the whole person has grown too much. It can be foreseen that it will be greatly exercised and grown on the soul and spirit level. To sum up in one sentence, Natalia is really mature. At this moment, she is like a real commander and leader, and also a powerful warrior. The inheritance of the mountains and the sea, the clouds, and the big masters is really strong. I have benefited a lot. Natalia burst into a smile, like the bright spring flowers. Zaiwei, I have been working hard, never give up. I have already achieved the Master's Blood Knight at the age of 18, and reached the feat that the Bonaparte family members have never completed in the past 700 years. This is a very celebrated thing. Zaiwei stepped forward to take Natalia in his arms. I will hold a grand party in Violet Fortress to celebrate your achievement, Master. I am tired, Zaiwei. Natalia was kneeling in the arms of Zaiwei, and said weakly, I want to see my mother. Not waiting for the westward response, there has been a slight snoring in the ear. Natalia has fallen into a deep sleep. Zaiwei is about to leave Violet Island and go to the Notre Dame de la Vallée. Later, he will face the legendary caster. The spiritualist of the spiritual school, White Ravens, Schiller, if possible, will go to the position of the bones. Participating in the Dark Council, this will be a series of adventures and challenges, and he will once again leave Violet for a while. Therefore, Zaiwei will use Natalia to complete the opportunity to promote the ranks of the knights, and hold a grand gathering in Violetburg, which will precipitate the rising emotions of all the Violets since the publication of the original issue of Arcane. The cohesiveness and pride of the entire force of Violet. Meow by Ge. Zaiwei took Natalia back to the bedroom and gave her a hot bath to let her enter sleep in the most comfortable state. Zaiwei, the Journal of Violet was revised. The first draft of the statistical arcane score has been edited. This is sent by Professor Morris. I hope that you can complete the final review. Charlotte, a red uniform, began to exercise. The assistant's work, the announcement of the selection criteria of the Arcanists has inspired many teachers and students. The number of submissions in this period has risen sharply and the quality has improved greatly. It is difficult for journal editors to make trade-offs. I hope you to make the final decision. This is really a happy worry. Zaiwei smiled and sat at his desk to begin a review of this issue of the Journal of Violet. Zaiwei reading is very fast, so you can only say that you have to look at it, the theory, experiment and data of each paper. The subtle omissions can be easily seen, and the value of the paper can be clearly judged. After all, the quality of the papers in the Journal of Violet is still far from the arcane. But in these seemingly immature papers, Zaiwei saw the growth and efforts of the Violet students. Most of them were just ordinary people a year ago. Even the most basic meditation would not be used. A trick can't be used, but now they have begun to have their own ideas, not blindly pursuing others' steps. Not a mechanical caster, the arcane concept has completely bloomed in the violet, which is the most worthy of the West Way. Once he defeated Gatlin's mentor, he did not choose to go to the magical holy place of the Royal Academy of Magical Academy or the Thousand French Tower to study alone. Instead, he stayed in Violet Island, building a college, and training new people according to his own ideas. Now, he finally saw the dawn, the seeds planted have grown up and will bear fruit. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 485. Genius 3 seconds to remember the site URL. It has been nearly 2 years since Ziwei came to the Orient world. If there is a home here, then it must be Violet. The people who followed him to learn magic are no longer the first dozen magic apprentices, but have expanded to a full scale of 5,000. Ziwei now has more than 3,000 disciples who have been the Confucius of the world. Even with a look at the entire Orient world for ordinary people, there are only a handful of university students with the loudest reputations that exceed the Violet Academy. The future Violet will surely become the mainstay of the arcane era, and they will spread the radiance of arcane to the whole world under the guidance of Ziwei. Ziwei devoted a lot of effort to the Violet Academy, but he could not divide himself into a few flaps: the constant pursuit of high-level magical mysteries, the preparation for the upcoming great changes, and the efforts to open the arcane era occupy him a lot of time and energy. Many of the students of the Violet Academy first met their principals, all in the virtual teaching of the magic classroom. The establishment of the Arcane Review Club and the establishment of the professional standard of the Arcans have brought a fresh impetus to the entire Violet Academy. For the name of Arcane, which has long been known, they finally found themselves so far near. Ziwei needs to make a sound at this crucial point in time, so he issued a notice on the Violet Forum, and will hold a large-scale celebration party in the next day in Violetburg. This news instantly detonated the entire forum, and the new students who have recently entered the school are dreaming. Violet Fort has long been looking forward to it for a long time, and now it is finally waiting for the opportunity to enter the banquet. Before this, Ziwei still took the time to do something more important, that is to achieve Natalia's wishes, to accompany her to see her parents. With the strength of Ziwei, a long-distance transmission is enough to bring Natalia directly from Violetburg to the Blue Fort on Corsica, just as easy as a door. Natalia put on a black uniform that the aristocratic youth likes to wear on a formal occasion. The fit and self-cultivation uniform makes her whole person look good, and the gorgeous and delicate little decoration adds to her the female's deserved charm. Ziwei is wearing a white uniform of the same style as Natalia. Handsome and elegant, the two stand together and have a perfect fit. I think this time, you are afraid that you will get married soon. Charlotte arranged the sash on his chest for Ziwei, and his eyes were full of envy. This is really a good thing to celebrate. Natalia took Charlotte's hand and patted her chest to reassure, this home will always have your place, dear. Well, let's go. Charlotte smiled and said goodbye to leave. It's a pity that Meryl is doing key research and is not willing to go back. Olivia still wants to see her, Natalia said regretfully. If you count according to the time spent in the Smooth plane, she will soon be an adult, 11 Wei whispered. She will arrange her life, do not need your sister too concerned. Okay, hope so. Natalia took the shoulders of Ziwei and leaned on him. After mentioning Natalia and giving her the inheritance of the great master of the mountain and the sea, Uriha left the island of Violet. She is already in the Notre Dame of Par waiting for Ziwei to go to fulfill his own agreement. I couldn't thank my grandson, Yulichia, for letting Natalia feel a little regret, but she was not the kind of delicate little woman, and this regret was quickly put down by her. The long-distance transmission started, the white light flashed, and Ziwei and Natalia appeared in the hill behind the Blue Fort. Space transmission is really an uncomfortable experience. If it is an ordinary person, I am afraid I will spit it out. Natalia showed her expectation. I am looking forward to seeing Carlo's expression. Haha, he is a master of the 35-year-old master. It would be a very complicated mood to think of it. 11 Way also showed a smile. Natalia can be said to be the most proud work of Carlo and Olivia. Carlo teaches her martial arts and military affairs. Olivia teaches her to be a man and a finance. Natalia has always been excellent, but excellent is far beyond the achievements of my father, which is a very interesting thing. Ziwei summoned a luxury flying carriage. The two men took the carriage and landed in front of the Blue Castle gate. They were recognized by the castle guards. With cordial greetings, the Blue Fort gate quickly opened and the carriage went straight through the castle. Compared to the ever-changing Violet Island, Ayacho has not changed. The capital on this island is like a paradise. The people live and work in peace, but they have a very slow pace of life and a lifestyle of almost 1,000 years. Soon, Ziwei and Natalia saw the Count of Bonaparte and Princess Olivia. In the face of the two who are about to become their father-in-law and mother-in-law, Ziwei sent a gift that had already been prepared. The Earl of the Earl, this is a steel-handed sword made by the latest research alloy of my construction laboratory. It is named as the Wild Blade. The magic runes engraved above can greatly increase the swinging two-handed sword. The speed, I hope you like it. The whole sword is very beautiful, the golden hilt, the ice blue blade and the blood red ridge are perfectly and smoothly connected together, and the magical rune is called the attack speed of the ghost. This while the blade can already be called an epic level sword. Although it may be a little different from the Bonaparte family's family-running sword for hundreds of years, it is definitely worthless. His Royal Highness, this is a string of necklaces that I specially designed to be the most famous jeweler designer of Orient, the custom-made necklace of Weskia. The pure blue crystal is filled with the most vital energy. You maintain a strong energy and a face that will hardly age. The value of this string of life necklaces is still above the Wild Blade. The Water of Vitality is the latest inscription of the 8-ring water element of Ziwei. Before the magic in this inscription is exhausted, the wearer can almost always be youthful. The blue crystal necklace created by the master of Veskaya hit the heart of Princess Olivia in an instant. She was very happy to take this valuable gift and put it on her white neck. Although I haven't seen each other for nearly a year, but the master Ziwei, this gift is too expensive. The hand of Earl Carlo Bonaparte is rubbing on the Wild Blade, this beautiful weapon to the extreme. He is also very attractive to him as a knight, but he is still very excited. Carlo, Olivia, tell you a good news worthy of surprise. I have completed the challenge of the Master's card, officially promoted to the 7th Order Diamond Knight. The Blood Knight who enters the paradigm has a better name, called the Knight of Heaven, because they can get rid of gravity and fly above the sky. The Blood Knight who successfully promoted the Master class is known as the Diamond Knight, which is a glorious deed of shining like a diamond. How is it possible? Carlo directly put down the Wild Blade in his hand and stepped forward to grab Natalia's arm. He used the quickest way to sense the chi in Natalia's body. Natalia looked proud of her expression. She ran mountain and sea. The gas from the Yunzuluda master's inheritance was meager, but the quality should not be underestimated. Carlo's temptation quickly ran into Natalia's infuriating, and Carlo felt that this gas was as smashing as Foshan, and could not shake. Although Carlo's instinct is far more than Natalia in number, he only confirms it, not to live with his daughter, so he quickly retakes all the temptations. This is a more sophisticated method of using chi. Do you have a new adventure? Count Bonaparte took a deep breath and calmly asked. Yes, father, I got the unique breathing method of Yungxiao Rongda Master Mountain and Sea, Natalia responded with pride. Clouds and flows. The Emperor's monk in Junshiveo, Carol shook his head. It's incredible. The great master is the one who wants to visit all the people on the mainland of Orient. You can actually get it his inheritance. I am sorry, Carlo, this inheritance has been poured into my soul in a special way. I can't express it in words, and I can't tell you, Natalia said regretfully. Nada, this is already a rare opportunity for my Bonaparte family, Carol did not regret. I already have my own breathing method, it has been with me for decades, like each other. Old friends are familiar with each other. It is difficult for me to abandon my old friends and to change another kind of breathing method, even if this breathing method is the inheritance of the great master. I completed the challenge of the master's certificate at the age of 35. This is a very good result of the Bonaparte family since the ages, but I didn't think Nada did it at half the age of me. The Naba family will surely move toward a more brilliant peak in the future because of you, Carol sighed, as if he was getting old. I am really proud of you, my daughter, Princess Olivia gave Natalia a warm hug. How did Meryl not come back? After a while, the Countess realized this. She is doing a very important magic experiment. Right, Meryl is already a 5-ring high-level magician. She is only 15 years old. This is a very bad achievement, Natalia replied. Sometimes I always hope that you can not be so good, so you can stay at home, spend more time with me, and talk, the Countess said. Time flies so fast, I am getting old, sitting at home. It's getting harder and harder to keep the book in the afternoon, and it's boring to hear the barons and the countesses chatter. The normal aristocratic lady is almost married at my age. Natalia picked up a red grape in the fruit bowl and stuffed it into her mouth, habitually refuting. Suddenly, she seemed to realize what she was, subconsciously bowed her head, and her cheeks began to redden. The Count of Bonaparte also seemed to realize what he was. He carefully looked at Ziwei and Natalia, who were obviously wearing a matching uniform. After a long time, he said, "Yes, my daughter is already 18 years old. It's time to marry someone." Ziwei pulled Natalia to his side and straightened his waist. "My relationship with Natalia has become more and more intense. I have seen each other as a lover who has been waiting for my life. I hope that the Earl and my wife can allow Natalia to marry me." Natalia only felt that her face seemed to be burning. She looked down at her parents with her head down, and took the hand of Ziwei tightly, as if she had seized the only dependence. Looking at the rare daughter's appearance, Carlo sighed, "The chicks will leave the nest sooner or later, and the daughter will marry sooner or later." "He is right, Ziwei, you are a very good young man, Nana the feelings of the tower are very sincere, and we are also looking at it. But before agreeing to marry Nada to you, I would like to reiterate an important thing, you and a descendant of Nada must inherit Bonaparte's family name and section. In the Zygia territory, the inheritance of the Bonaparte family for 700 years cannot be cut off." Initially Carlo only wanted to find a shackle for Natalia, but now that Ziwei has achieved such a brilliant achievement, Count Bonaparte can only retreat to the next level. "I have discussed this issue with Nada for a long time. I think we will have more than one child. The blood of the Bonaparte family will not be cut off." Ziwei did not insist on this point. After all, the Count's request was still very reasonable. "It is still a bit too hasty to get married now, I am not ready to marry my daughter so soon." Princess Olivia suddenly spoke up, "But I think I can hold an engagement party. You must first get engaged and wait until the right time to step into the marriage hall." This is also good, Ziwei thought about it or agreed, and he was not in a hurry. With his current strength, there was no external force to separate him from Natalia, and he firmly believed that he would manage this. Feelings, accompanying Natalia to the end. The Countess breathed a sigh of relief. Natalia has not returned home for a long time. I have a lot of words to talk to her. You two men are here to talk about it? The Countess soon took Natalia into the backyard, and Sylvia shrugged and could only chat with the Count of Bonaparte and her future father-in-law. Although one is a magician and the other is a blood knight, the two have a common identity, that is, the Lord. To be continued. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 486. Soon, The two talked about the situation on the mainland of Orient, and Ziwei also took the opportunity to tell his future father-in-law the news of the original contract that was no longer a core secret. I received the relevant information rumors about 2 months ago, but I haven't confirmed it yet. Count Bonaparte nodded. This is really a bad news. The peacetime is likely to end soon. I think the Earl adults can make preparations early. This time is not far away. I can provide you with enough food and steel. The current smurfs are all about the high-yield morning wheat. The open-pit iron mines on the outskirts of the holy city are also being continuously mined. Call my uncle, Ziwei, we are no longer outsiders. Earl Carlo Poabo patted Civi's shoulder. Natalia was a little boyish when I was educated, but she and you, the year of exchange has changed a lot. It is more feminine, and it is more suitable to be a wife. I want to thank you. She was very stubborn from a young age, and she refused to give up when she didn't aim. I hope that as a man, you can understand her. This is my request as a father of Nada. Uncle, I have been in contact with Natalia for more than a year, and I have never been red-faced. Ziwei solemnly promised, I will manage and cherish this feeling with my heart. That's fine, that's fine. Count Bonaparte quickly shifted the subject and discussed the process of forging the wild blade with Ziwei. In the front hall, Yuuluo and the two people talked more and more happy, and the backyard conversation also entered a tit-for-tat. Tell me, does Meryl still like Ziwei now? The countess took her eldest daughter Natalia and asked with a look of awkwardness. Yes, deep roots, hopeless. Natalia spread her hands and shrugged. Natalia is not stupid, and she is not idiotic about her feelings. Meryl's state can be easily seen. They didn't get it together, the countess frowned. No, according to my observation, it is a very pure teacher-student relationship, Natalia said with a smile. I am blunt, Ziwei is definitely a rare gentleman, but he is much cleaner than those nobles. With his current power position, with his personal strength, with his handsome appearance and unparalleled talent, if he is willing, changing a bed partner every day can be no more than 10 years. How do you say it? The countess was a little unhappy. I don't want to marry both daughters to one person, even if he is good again. What are you in a hurry? Take your time, Natalia said indifferently. The life of the magician is very long. Meryl is now a high-level magician. At least he will be a master of magic in the future. The legend is also very promising. It's not difficult to live for 300 or 500 years. I'm afraid that when you and I both die, she will be able to get together with Ziwei. In fact, if other women like Ziwei, it doesn't matter, it's Meryl, which is a bit embarrassing. It is. You are really, the countess had no way to her eldest daughter. She was hurt by her stomach. She could only change one topic. I heard your cousin, Princess Lucia, also went to Violet as an exchange student. Yes. I heard that she liked Ziwei in Pili and has been chasing it here. I really don't know what he and her aunt think. It was very alert to Princess Lucia. Natalia. Listen to you to show off with me for a long time. Ziwei will at least enter the legendary field in the future. Princess Olivia showed a sneer. A princess for a legendary caster, steady profitable business. Ziwei is my home. Nada first looked at, how can she let Lucia jump in the queue? This engagement party must be held grandly, and Carlo and I will attend, and then let Ziwei personally write an invitation to Lucia, so that all your potential rivals are dead hard. You are my mother. Natalia was happy to take a sip on Olivia's face. I have raised you for 18 years, this is your mother. Olivia reached out and grabbed it. Ziwei is a very rare marriage contractor, you have to hold on. The bond between the two is not the exchange of interests, but the relationship is maintained. This is a good thing and a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing? Natalia asked inexplicably. The exchange of interests is always stable, but no one can speculate. Olivia sighed, I don't want to tell you too much. You are hopeless anyway. I hope that Ziwei is mature enough. Let you go along with you all the way. I suddenly felt that you are not my mother, Natalia said with hatred. If I am not your mother, can you spoil me here? The Countess smiled with a mocking smile. Where is Paulina now? I heard that the Pope's call went directly to the Franconian plain. Carlo also went to see her, and it is estimated to be the last one. Paulina is the other sister of Natalia, the second daughter of the Count of Bonaparte, an illegitimate daughter, who was sent to the Holy City of Vatican as a nun. Right, I will finally ask, are you still not rules about the pretty little girl? The Countess had a pair of eyes with a cold face, staring at Natalia. Poor Natalia is already a master of the master, the Diamond Knight, with the mountain and sea. This peerless breathing method, still stared at these eyes are nervous. A mount, a lot better, a lot better. Natalia's earliest target was the maid of her side. Unfortunately, the Countess was obsessed with the autumn, and soon she was carrying an oil lamp in a rainy night with no fingers to see the Natalia and the delicate little waiter who were committing crimes. You, said the Countess, biting her teeth, and said, I really don't know who you are learning from this. If you don't learn this. When you have a loss in the morning and evening, does Ziwei know? He found out, but, it doesn't seem to be disgusting, Natalia whispered. Hey, you have to have half of your mother, 1/5 of the level. I will never worry about your future marriage. Princess Olivia looked at her daughter. Teach you also is white, that's it? My dad was still a young boy of Ayacho when he was young. When you meet an old man, you will become a special lover. How fresh, how can I compare with you? Natalia said. I don't know what kind of guys like Ziwei really looked at you, the Countess said with emotion. It's like a small scorpion all day. The oily slippery is not serious, but it's really rare. My daughter raised 10 in 8 years, I am finally getting married. As he spoke, there were already tears of crystal clear from the Countess's cheek. Natalia quickly reached out and wiped the tears on her mother's face. Don't worry about my mother, I have grown up and will be responsible for my future. I will not lose face to the Bonaparte family. Great achievements, so that you and your father are proud of me. Although Corsican is a land of Earl, it is comparable to the Count of the counties of the Kingdom of France. The area is not much different, the population is scarce, the mountains are dense, and there are many beaches, so Ayacho is more like a simple countryside town. I really don't know how Olivia, who is a princess of the French kingdom, has lived here for nearly 2 decades without getting bored. After Ziwei and Natalia enjoyed a sumptuous dinner at the Blue Fort, they returned to Violet Island by sending spells, and the Countess and Countess of Bonaparte will also fly the magical flight summoned by Siv the next morning. The carriage will travel to Violet Island, and the wedding receptions of Sivi and Natalia will be held in Violet Fort. Time is very urgent, but this is not too much trouble. Ziwei handwritten an invitation to the guests who are worthy of invitation. Dear Princess Lucia, I will have an engagement ceremony with Miss Natalia at the 9th Magic tomorrow morning. I hope you can participate on time. Thank you very much. Ziwei finished the invitation with a beautiful squirrel. Natalia sat with a smile and asked, do you really have any interest in my cousin? People are deliberately from the king. Pai Li chased it. With Natalia you will be enough, Ziwei responded. I am not the kind of person who is greedy for power. Although Princess Lucia is also very good, I don't have the kind of feelings between men and women for her. Soon, dozens of invitations flew out of the Violet Castle like a flashing butterfly, flying to the hands of each guest. It is already the master of magic, and the control of this little trick is really perfect. The master Ziwei is getting engaged, and the fiancée is really the female knight of the Bonaparte family. It seems that we have to send a gift of congratulations. In the Dark Knight village, the Moon Priest Black Iris and Morris, Elaine Monica and others shared this news. This should not be a political marriage of interest. The sincere feelings between the two of them are obvious to everyone. Professor Morris said, the Violet has begun to take off, but the Master Ziwei has always been the most emotional person. The friends around him have received the most attention and support, and have not stopped. So our choice is undoubtedly sensible, Ms. Black Shanwei said with a smile. We have been waiting for 200 years in darkness and despair, and we have enough patience. Master Xavi has not only helped us to get the redemption of Luna, he will also fulfill his promise in the future to free the dark girl Elise from the supreme cage. In the SMOV plane, Meryl is working with Professor Christine to complete the analysis and fabrication of the circuit. The control and understanding of the metal is very advantageous when making stable power supplies and measuring instruments. However, the two butterfly-like invitations flew into the hands of the two. After reading, the original Busy and Busy Lab seemed to stop the spell in time. Xavi brother is going to be engaged with her sister, Meryl murmured. It seems that they will come together and live happily. I think this warning is very early. Your heart seems to be calm. Christine was very interested in Meryl's performance at the moment, because to some extent, she also had a complexity with Ziwei. Unspeakable feelings, especially after telling him about the secrets of the family soul curse. For the magician, the feelings are just a kind of condiment. If it is better, it will not affect too much. Meryl looked at Christine and his right hand gently licked his long blonde hair. Does the Lord of the Emperor not have been in love with people for the rest of his life? This does not affect her great achievement in winning the title legend. For the female magician, the feelings are really a luxury that is hopeful and unreachable. Kristen sighed and lifted her slender legs and stretched out. Since it is West, the invitation of the President of the U.S. can't be absent. During this time, the busy day is dim and dark. Just take a vacation. Will you attend this engagement party? Meryl. Of course, I have to send them blessings in person. I hope they can go hand in hand along the way. After all, one is my sister, one is my mentor. Meryl smiled. At the center of the Violet College living area is a miniature palace. This miniature palace is located in the villa area. Other villas are like the stars, and the moon is complemented by this miniature palace functionality and enjoyment. They are very strong and they are very comfortable to live. This villa belongs to the assets of the Violet Academy. It is only a lease to rent here, and the rental price is an astronomical number, but for the Princess Lucia of the French Kingdom, this is not an unbearable price. Princess Lucia has been in Violet for 5 months, and the half-year exchange career is coming to an end soon. She has learned a lot of fresh knowledge here, but she has not lost much of her expectations. Not only did she not develop an unforgettable relationship with Ziwei, but she only saw the Ziwei side in 5 months. It was only a few words of chilling. The most exchanges were in the magic classroom. The Ziwei humor in the magical classroom is very easy to understand, and it is very easy to understand. Although many professors and mentors of the Violet Academy have begun to record magic courses, the most popular is the president of Ziwei class. This is really a kind of sorrow. A princess of the French kingdom was soaked for 5 months. Although she was full of appreciation for the beautiful scenery of Violet Island, Princess Lucia began to pack her bags and prepare to return to Wangdu. Pai Li. It was at this time that Princess Lucia received an invitation from Ziwei. Is getting engaged with Natalia? Damn, the grievances and anger of Princess Lucia finally broke out. The invitation was instantly annihilated into a thin powder in her hands, slowly slipping from her hand. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 487. His Royal Highness, who made you so angry? Another beautiful aristocratic woman wearing a luxurious evening dress came over. She is the Three-Margin Mary of the Alfonso family. She also serves as the aristocrat in the Violet Academy. Soon, she established a close relationship with Princess Lucia similar to Sister Amoy. Although the Alfonso family only has one lord, it is the real lord of the southwestern part of the country. It is not inferior to the Lucia princess, and the two are now studying at the Violet College. Therefore, it is rare that a lot of common language. Our president of Ziwei is getting engaged, and the big lady of the Bonaparte family, my aunt's daughter Natalia, Princess Lucia, did not master emotional magic, although she is already a high-level magician, but her face the icy chill still did not dissipate. The Bonaparte family, the family that brought the family crest to the Kingdom of France 20 years ago, and the land is located on a remote island in the Golden Sea. Miss Marnie smirked with a fuchsia silk handkerchief. His Majesty is really generous, not only sent a precious Earl of the Ears directly, but also married his favorite sister to the Count of Bonaparte. The Earl was a very good friend with his father when he was young. They had ventured together and worked together in the military. Princess Lucia turned and said, "Everything is for the benefit of France. Compared with your Royal Highness, the Countess is really a rough country girl. I have seen Natalia, oh." Marnie was able to get the love of Count Alfonso, not just because of her innocent and lovely. Although she is only 16 years old, she is very familiar with the world, which makes her easy to get the love of almost everyone. For Lucy, the truth is that the president of Ziwei is willing to leave Pili and come to Violet. I have already guessed it. In Marini's view, although his father had a very high evaluation of Ziwei and Violet, it was not enough to compare with the princess. If you can make a plan for the princess and help her reach the goal, it will definitely harvest France. The friendship of his royal princess, the only princess of the kingdom, is very helpful for the future. I have heard of a rumor. I don't know if you want to know the princess. I don't know. Miss Natalia seems to have a strange hobby. Oh? Let's listen. Princess Lucia was really interested. She seems to like girls, and the changing school of Professor Ilya, as well as the president's secretary, Miss Charlotte, is unclear. Many people have been in the public arena and have seen their intimate exchanges. The boundaries of ordinary friends. Yes? It's really a disgusting person, Princess Lucia said with hatefulness, but how about this? Tomorrow is nothing more than an engagement banquet. I think that since the reception of the Royal Highness Princess, I will attend. I will also be on the scene, looking for opportunities to dismantle the strange secrets hidden by the Countess. Marnie volunteered. Very good advice. I am looking forward to your performance. Princess Lucia was not willing to pay for her half-year efforts, and finally decided to attend this engagement banquet, and perhaps there will be a magical reversal waiting for herself. At the Violet Forum, people who received the invitation soon revealed the real reason why the president of Ziwei suddenly held a banquet. The president of Ziwei was about to hold an engagement ceremony with Miss Natalia. The earliest group of old people at the Violet College, who had experienced the pirate siege war, witnessed Natalia's acceptance of the Guardian Knight charge and the battle with the pirate King Cook, so the acceptance of the Cavalier the degree is very high, and the new students are full of curiosity about the mysterious Miss Natalia. For the president of Ziwei, even a talented student can only look up. The gap between his ordinary people is too great. To the extent of despair, everyone is imagining to stand next to the president of Ziwei and walk side by side with him. What exactly is the woman in the marriage hall? The Violet Forum soon started a hot discussion. Some students who had contacted Natalia also broke the news, but they were limited by the real name system. The forums were basically blessings and praises, so the Princess Lucia who took the time to pay attention to the forum was more depressed. It is. In anticipation, day and night are staggered, and soon the morning of the next day comes. The Violet Fort, which is not open to the public, has finally opened its doors. The tall and mighty guards are on both sides of the gate. These guards are not living, but it is the product of the construction machinery. The bright silver metal armor becomes a real golden armor under the illumination of the sun, sparkling and shining. There is a clear violet emblem on the chest of the armor, and these mech guards are the result of a period of research by Zero and Christine. Zero unified management of these armor guards, in the future will inevitably be the striker of the Arcane Corps, and now plays the role of guard. In addition to taking out adventures, magicians rarely hire too many followers, and many magicians do not like to deal with people. The rise of the architecture school provides the perfect choice for the magicians to use the construction machinery to guard, fight and serve. Although the mechanics of most construction machines are too simple to make a lot of jokes, this does not affect the construction machinery has become a common sight in the life of magicians. More than 5,000 magicians and magic apprentices have been studied at Violet College. Although there are still a large number of spells that major in elemental school, it is not uncommon for other major schools. For those magicians who choose to dress up, the Vigilant Warrior's mech guard is simply the embodiment of power and beauty, more attractive than the most beautiful beauty. The last feast of the last time in Violet Fortress has passed for half a year, during which Violetburg has undergone great changes. In addition to the tall and mighty mech guards, just entering the gates of the Violet Fort, many Violet students were shocked by the scenes in the castle. The sky was full of colorful colored of light, and the ground was full of various kinds rides. There was a cheerful music playing in the huge sound, and it seemed that I came to a playground full of happiness. The theme of the banquet was Charlotte's attention. Her childhood was too dark and oppressive, and going to the playground was her biggest dream of childhood. Both Sivi and Natalia agreed with Charlotte's idea. Ziwei also provided a lot of ideas for the fun of the rides, which was highly praised by everyone. The daily study life of Violet College is very tense, so this banquet has become a rare relaxation. The square of the entire Violet Castle was arranged by Ziwei with an 8-ring space magic array, which made the originally less spacious squares very large enough to accommodate thousands of people. The rides are fun, such as carousels. There are also thrilling ones, such as windshield obstacle races. There are tests of wisdom, such as guessing puzzles. Of course, the most popular is a project called Wings of Fire. The wing is blessed on each participant's body. There is a fixed flame ring over the field. As long as the ring can pass through the sky, the fire feathers can continue to provide the power of flying. The final grade is determined by the number of flame rings that pass through the flight. Since the magician can only learn the flight when he is in the 3rd ring stage, most of the students at the Violet College are unable to experience the fun of flying, but the Circus of the Fire is a circus entertainment project that makes those days the magic apprentices and magicians who were able to fly freely above the sky felt the adrenaline secretions in advance, and countless people screamed and cheered to start the experience, and soon the entrance to the project was lined up. Long line. Most of the rides are closely linked to the low loop spells, and even some seemingly simple zero loop spells still play a huge value, which is also a new inspiration for the students of Violet. There are so many practical values. The experience of the circus playground has made almost all the students of Violet feel happy. Everyone enjoys every project and laughs over the entire Violet Fort. Finally, when the bells on the top of the castle rang through a full 12, all entertainment ended. The seemingly huge space was instantly compressed, and all the rides disappeared, leaving only the students who were still memorable and standing in the square of Violetburg. At this moment, Ziwei appeared. He was wearing a black uniform and a white shirt inside. The whole person looked at the gods and smiled and stayed on his face. Obviously he was in a good mood today. Seeing the figure of President Ziwei, everyone quickly quieted down. They stood in the same place and looked quietly at the front. I am happy to see everyone playing very happy. This is really a rare enjoyment. Ziwei extended his hands. Is everyone happy? Very happy. I have never participated in such a fun ride. The varied answers emerged from the students, but they all expressed the same feelings. The students who have not yet enjoyed themselves don't have to worry. I will move the entire playground to Nanhai Town when everyone can enter by ticket, experience every project. Many people are clapping. This is really a good thing to celebrate, especially those who are young and less than 15 years old. Today, I am very happy to join you in this gathering hosted by me. This is a grand event for our Violet people, 11 Wilang said. She started a long-awaited speech. The audience was awe-inspiring. Everyone had and listened to the words of Ziwei. 2 years ago, there was only one ancient tower on the island of Violet. An evil magician was here, using the life of the apprentices as a taboo test. Your vice president, Yang, Meryl, and assistant principal, Charlotte. The principal has experienced this horrible dark time. This is the first time that Ziwei has publicly talked about the past of Violet Island. Many people have amazed their mouths. However, justice will eventually defeat evil. A secret gathering of apprentices aimed at overthrowing evil mentors was established on a dark night. Its name is, the Order of the Phoenix. This is the predecessor of the Violet Academy. The members of the Order of the Phoenix did not fear the danger of the unknown. They rushed to the top of the tower with the courage of perseverance. They finally defeated the evil teacher. The darkness faded and the light finally came. The apprentices of the tower no longer have life. Danger, you can live freely in the sun. However, the tower at that time was so weak, only I was promoted to be a formal magician. Everyone else was only an apprentice. The total number was only less than 100. It was confined to a small remote island, not rich. Resources, no magical knowledge. Even in this case, we have not lost our ideals for the future. Everyone learns together and makes progress together. Everyone grows up quickly. At the beginning of last year, the pirates discovered this remote island and wanted to occupy it. A fierce war broke out. However, the students of Violin overcame the fear. They stood up and guarded the tower, defended its glory. Faraway, Fernandez, Linden, and the students who had resisted the invasion of pirates stood tall and raised their chests. The Violet Academy has developed from nothing, and Violet Island has evolved from a desolate island to a bustling place. With the popularity of the popular books, Violet has finally embarked on a fast-moving track, 8 plus or minus, asterisk, 8 plus or minus 8 plus or minus 0. I know that you come from every country in the continent of Orient, from a completely different city. Your race, color, family, status, and wealth are different, but now we stand here and have a common title. It's the Violet. With the release of the inaugural issue of Arcane, the Arcane concept has blown through the Orient continent like a breeze. A new future is moving towards us, and the Violet people stand on the wave of the times, leading the way. The trend of the trend. I want to tell you a heavy thing. The peace of the continent of Orient for nearly 1,000 years is about to come to an end. A time of turmoil has come. War, terror, famine, hunger, and cruel death will fall from the sky. Without any a country can survive. Although Ziwei did not say it clearly, it still gave everyone a vague warning that the footsteps of the original contract had become closer and closer, and early warning would avoid causing too much confusion. Although no one whispered, it was obvious that everyone's emotions were captured by Ziwei. Some of the people's predictions about Ziwei's prophecy were directly believed, and some people were dubious. After all, this prophecy is too horrible, sweeping through the disasters of the entire continent of Orient, and no country can be spared. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 488. The catastrophe is coming. Even if you look at the entire world of Orient, you may not have a peaceful land. Our magicians must also look beyond the towers and be prepared to be involved in the torrent of this era. Arcane is an idea that I have been advocating, and it is the future of magic. Everyone who is interested in becoming an arcanist must be good at thinking. Don't let arrogance and prejudice blind your brain. It can't be confined to a narrow research field. To learn, knowledge is the greatest wealth and treasure of the arcanist. To be bold, you must also earnest evidence, and you can't rely on speculation to make a conclusion. Finally, there is no eternal truth in the world. It is correct now. With the deepening of research, the future may become a wrong theory, or a theory that can only be applied in a certain category. The Arcanist must not stubborn, not enterprising. This paragraph is the first time that Ziwei publicly discussed what his arcane master should have. It can be said that almost every Violet student dreams of becoming an arcane master, so they listen very seriously, and most of them are also after. In the process of growing up, we strive to move closer to the standard and work hard. So what will be the magical future of arcanism? My eyes are full of fog, I have a dream about arcane. The tone of Ziwei suddenly rises, and his speech has come to the climax. Link. I dream that one day, the greatest value of the arcanists is not to kill and destroy, but to create. The wisdom of the arcans will profoundly promote the progress and development of civilization, bring peace to Orient and civilization. The arcane master will exalt the torch of order and civilization, and make the whole world a better place. I dream that one day, even in the smallest mountain village, there will be schools. There are teachers who teach children the arcane civilization, so that they can receive arcane education from an early age. Most of them will become arcane civilizations. The cornerstone, the best of those who will continue to advance on the road of arcane, and finally climb the summit, picking the crown of the arcane throne. I dream that one day, the entire world of Orient will be under the glory of the arcane. The arcans will use their own research to change the world, create a variety of magic crops, great rich and high-yield food, powerful forging, textile, printing industry, convenient transportation, developed logistics. Arcane and magic will go deep into the most basic aspects, changing the lifestyle of everyone in the world. Almost all the students of Violet are holding their breath, many people have eyes, and the future of President Ziwei is so beautiful and bright. Even if you just think about it, you feel trembled. It seems that there is endless power from the body. Breeding surges. How can my dream be realized? It requires the joint efforts of all people. The Violet people will become the pioneers and leaders of the arcane concept, and push the world to develop in the direction we hope. I hope that we can all work together and make great strides. Go ahead and ignite the torch of the arcane civilization, bringing hope to the whole world. To you, I have high hopes. This will be an era of change and the beginning of a new era. As long as you seize this opportunity, everyone in you may be on the peak and achieve great achievements that you can't imagine. Please fight together, the beautiful world is waiting for us to create. Ziwei's speech was finally over. After a while, the audience gave a thunderous general applause, which lasted for a long time. Many people are excited and their faces are red, and their hands are numb, but they have forgotten everything, only to the glory of the future and the high hopes described by President Ziwei. It is necessary to know that most of the 5,000 students of the Violet Academy belong to the grassroots class. They are farmers, workers, small citizens, small businessmen, and small aristocrats. In the past history, these people belonged to the silent majority. In the historical records of the heroic view, their names have never appeared. They are the foil of the heroes, a pale symbol in the lightly understated figure, a drop of water in the Bohai Sea. But now, even a drop of water can make the whole sea rise into shocking waves. A pale symbol can finally rewrite or even create history. The responsibility and mission of this era have made almost all the violins present there breathable and full. For the future fighting spirit and wild vision. Perfect speech, he is a natural leader. Many of the guests who got the invitation had entered the Violet Fortress in advance under the guidance of the Night Elf Maid, and Christine and Meryl leaned on the railing and stood in the Violet Fortress 3. The window of the floor looks at this shocking scene. I never love his handsome appearance, perfect body, and he doesn't like his funny conversation and profound knowledge. Meryl looked at everyone's focus, and the sun shines like a godlike singer. What really touched me is that he can really understand me, know what I want, and the rich sense of the mission of the times. I think he is the son of the times, and will be in the future. It shines like a star in the sky. Yeah, just like a moth, as long as it is really in contact with him for a long time, no one will be assimilated by his ideals and gentleness. I think I have already got a poison called There will be no antidote anymore. The relationship between Christine and Meryl has been very good in this period of time, especially in some respects. In the bedroom of the castle owner on the third floor of the Violet Castle, Charlotte is dressing up Natalia sitting in front of the mirror. Although it is just an engagement ceremony, Natalia is wearing a luxurious white wedding dress. She is like a little swan, with a string of transparent rhinestone necklaces hanging on her long, slender neck. The stars are exactly the same as the stars, and they are exactly the same size. They are all machined with the most precise mechanics. Charlotte's dress for Natalia softened most of her body, and made her whole person look gentle and quiet. Natalia's foundation was very good, so she was as pure as an elf at this moment. Innocent, so that everyone who sees can't help but feel amazed. I can't recognize myself in the mirror, Natalia sighed in the mirror. Today is the engagement ceremony, the most important moment in a woman's life after marriage, Charlotte said with a smile. Think about it, your parents and his wife, and the fiancé who will spend the rest of your life with you, will appear at this ceremony, all guests will send a good blessing. This is a memorable thing. It won't be all guests. I am engaged to Ziwei, and there will be many people dissatisfied. Natalia flashed a cold light in her eyes, but I never feared to challenge. Reassured, Ziwei will handle everything. You don't want to have a duel. Where did you just go quietly? Charlotte quickly reminded. What I want to say is, Princess Lucia, your vision is really good. In the second floor VIP room of Violetberg, Marnie is accompanying Princess Lucia, and the two also have a panoramic view of Ziwei's wonderful speech. He is much better than the so-called young talents in the city of Pali. It is simply the difference between the sun in the sky and the fire on the ground. I chose the object never to look at his family, because no one in this world is nobler than me. The Princess Lucia has been replaced with a favorite and the most perfect dress. The big red evening gown perfectly sets off her figure. The big lady of the Bonaparte family and Mr. 11 Wei stand together, absolutely like a wild monkey. She will certainly attract the ridicule of everyone. Marnie wore a pink dress with a full of youthful girl charm, but she spit out in her mouth is not so beautiful. When the speech was over, the gates of the Violet Palace were open, and the entire hall had already prepared a rich and beautiful lunch, waiting for all guests. The halls of the Violet Fort also have space magical spells. The halls that can only carry 500 people have grown many times. Rows of red wooden tables and chairs are moving forward, and all kinds of delicious meals and drinks are also available. All are ready. More than 5,000 people lined up in the neat queue, and most of them entered the interior of this dream palace for the first time. There were too many seniors and schoolgirls in the Violet Forum to show off in the Violet Palace. When they attended the banquet, they had long expected this day to come. At this moment, Ziwei appeared in the main bedroom on the third floor of the palace. The time is up, the count and the lady will arrive soon. My fiancé, you are going to play. Nada, you are so beautiful today. Charlotte, you also very beautiful. Charlotte dressed up in advance. The red-haired beauty is best equipped with a red-hot evening gown. She is as hot as a fire, as beautiful as a peony. From a beauty point of view, it is no worse than Natalia. Good, then let's go. Natalia stood up, her footsteps firm, just like the warriors who went out. Natalia's right hand haved the left arm of Ziwei, and the two stepped on the red carpet that had been laid long, and walked down the spiral staircase. Since the dinner was not on, there were only small desserts and drinks on the table, so everyone was still discussing the speech just now. Until the appearance of Ziwei and Natalia, the hall of the palace was like a gradual spread of silent spells. The same, a little quiet. Ziwei and Natalia appeared on the high platform. The audience was invited to the invitation. They were slightly separated from the seats of the Violet students, but the table and chair tableware and dishes were in a grade. The guests who received the invitation letter were almost all in line. The sight of Ziwei swept, and the Blue Wolf and Heidi couples in the chaotic city had arrived. Heidi's lower abdomen had already risen slightly. It seems that they will soon have a child. The Black Elf priest of the Night Elf, Professor Morris, Monica, Elaine, and others also smiled. Professor Christine, Professor Ilya, and Meryl, the first apostle of Zyway, the third apostle, Freya, the fourth apostle, the fifth apostle, Esmeralda, and the sixth apostle, Scarlet. On a table, Scarlet has already awakened from the transformation of the Frost Source. She is now a fifth-order warlock, and initially controls her powerful ice and snow, no longer affecting the surroundings. The Princess Lucia from Wangdu Pai Li, and the representative of the exchange student and Miss Marnie appeared on a table, but the face of Princess Lucia was really hard to see at this moment. Because Natalia appeared in front of everyone, it was so amazing. The perfect white wedding dress completely set off her perfect figure, and the smile filled with happiness reveals the joy of happiness. The whole person is like the darling of nature. Perfect. This is the first time Natalia appeared in the public occasion of Violet. Many people blindly watched the woman wearing a white wedding dress on the stage. Is she the heroine of today, the fiancée of President Zyway? Just then, a stream of light flashed across the sky outside the castle, and a magical flying carriage landed directly docked at the entrance to the palace. The Count of Carlo Bonaparte and Princess Olivia also walked down with their arms, and they were the most distinguished guests of the banquet. Zyway took Natalia and walked to the entrance of the palace to welcome the arrival of the future father-in-law and guide them to the table. I think a lot of people already know. Today is the day when I am engaged with Miss Natalia Bonaparte. I have been in love with Natalia for more than a year. The feelings of each other are very strong, so I will be today. I reached a marriage contract and promised a lifetime, Zyway sang to everyone and finally disclosed the news. Ms. Black Shanway came forward and sent a blessing on behalf of the Night Elves. This time she and the Night Elves appeared in their original appearance and did not cover up. The purple-red elf skin caused a lot of attention and discussion. The black tail of a traditional Luna priest costume is the focus of many people's eyes. May the silver moon bless you, the brilliance of Iluna will make your future even better. Along with her words, a faint silver mist drifted to the side of Zyway and Natalia, and then integrated into their bodies. This is the silver moon blessing that is performed by the 7th order Luna priest, black-tailed priest, which can significantly enhance the agility and vitality of the blessing. Of course, the effect on the Zyway of the eternal moon is minimal. This time, there is no other vision. It seems that the attention of Ms. Elena, who has been shrouded in Zyway, has disappeared. Reminiscent of the original contract that is about to end, Zyway's mind suddenly gave birth to an ominous premonition. The Shining Lord is destined to leave. If there is any accident in Ms. Yinyu, then the world of Orient will inevitably become a world of magical dances. And the scale of chaos will be even bigger than expected. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 489. However, the current occasion did not give Zyway too much time to think about it. Soon, an invited guest came forward and sent his own blessings to the perfect and sinister Zyway and Natalia. Count Carlos Bonaparte and Princess Olivia have been sitting next to each other, watching the scene quietly, raising their daughter for 18 years and finally getting married, and their hearts are mixed. Natalia performed very well today. She smiled and faced every guest who sent her blessings and accepted the gifts they sent. The Violet Palace is filled with joyful and warm music. The students of Violet sit quietly in their own positions and watch the scene. They also sincerely send the blessings of their hearts. In the hearts of most of the Violet people, Zyway is not just a symbol, a principle. Too many of them are lucky enough to discover their magical talents after watching the 3 magical readings of Zyway. This took to the path of the magician, jumped out of the original small world, and truly took the extraordinary power in his hands. Not only that, but after opening the study at the Violet Academy, there are too many traces left by Zyway, from the basic textbooks of the apprenticeship stage to the inscriptions of the university speaking spells that are called the core inheritance. The list of spells, to the legendary arcane leader. It can be said that most of the students here have been proud of being a violet. The country and the nation are no longer the only criteria for their distinction. They only came to Violet Island for the same dream, and Violet also accepted them with their own enthusiasm. I wish you happiness, silver hair beauty. Christine came forward. Her gift is a pair of mechanical rabbit dolls, wearing the dress of the bride and groom. Natalia opened her hands and embraced Christine's passionately. Thank you for your blessing. I want to ask, is the agreement we have had, is it effective? After separating Christine and Natalia, she turned and looked at Ziwei firmly. Of course, Ziwei slightly decapitated. I will do my best. Natalia smiled and looked at the two, her eyes twitching slightly. Meryl came forward and she looked very thin because of malnutrition. She has now grown into an intellectual beauty. The vitality of youth does not disappear because of the simple dress she wears. She is a standard beauty. The embryo, just like the orchid in the corner, blooms alone. Although Earl Bonaparte and his wife did not see their little daughter in less than a year, in fact, Meryl was almost always stationed in the Smurf Plain, so she grew too much in the year. The change is big. Let them as parents can't believe it. Sister, congratulations, you married a good Lang Jun. Meryl calmly looked at Natalia and sent her own blessings. Natalia was a bit embarrassed because she knew that her sister had long liked Ziwei, but she seemed to have robbed the person she identified. Xavier brother, I wish you happiness. Meryl turned and smacked a slap in the face of Ziwei. Thank you, Meryl, my first apostle. 11 Wei's accent fell on the first, telling Meryl is special in his heart. Meryl's beautiful face burst into a sweet smile, so pure and lovely, dissipated in an instant. Princess Olivia, who saw this scene, shook her head helplessly and turned to her husband. What is the life expectancy of a high-ranking magician? 100 to 150 years old, Carlo Poaba said uncertainly. So what about the magic master? I know a court magic master who once served Charles V. He is still alive. Carlo shrugged. The era of Charles V has passed for nearly 200 years, and ordinary people have been breeding for 10 generations. So what about the legendary magician? Princess Olivia took a deep breath and continued to ask. As far as I know, the Lord of Tolafid, who is revered as the first law, is still alive. He created the 1005 towers thousands of years ago and is the magical holy land of the entire Orient continent. Carol understood himself. The lady meant, he also sighed. I didn't wake up the blood of the golden lion, and I can live to be 80 years old. Princess Olivia said indifferently, if you can become a legendary blood knight, it is about 150 years old. Lifespan, compared with the magician, is really short-lived. Meryl is only 15 years old. He is already a high-level magician. He is learning with Ziwei. In the future, he is at least a master of magic. Even the legendary legend, Yui can't decide her future. Not to mention that she left us when she was a child. I used to go crazy to find Meryl, but there was no trace at all. But 11 Wei saved her from the darkness. This is the arrangement of the Lord of Glory, the will of God. Meryl chose to embark on the path of the magician. Their future will be entangled, you and I cannot separate them. In the twinkling of an eye, all 3 of my daughters grew up, but they all left the country and left me. Carol said with emotion. Olivia, it is better to look forward to the descendants of Ziwei and Nada. There is enough time to train the next generation of the Bonaparte family. His body is filled with the blood of the Bonaparte family. With such a heroic parents, it will certainly be an outstanding genius. I have to be a grandmother in a blink of an eye. The time is running out. It's really fast. I always feel that the memory of youth with Oolong's play in Parley is still vivid. Caro, am I really old? Princess Olivia's hand has touched her own eyes. Where? You go to the mirror, even the sharp eyes of the goshawk can't find even a slight wrinkle. Your skin is as white and tender as the boiled egg just peeled. In my heart, you have been 20 years ago. The first beauty of Pai Li Fenghua, Olivia, Carol quickly took hold of his wife's hand and comforted. In this case, we should not interfere with the relationship between Natalia, Meryl, and Ziwei, let it develop naturally. Olivia finally showed a peaceful smile. The lifespan of human beings is a fundamentally inescapable topic, especially in the world of Orient, which has all kinds of extraordinary powers. Different races and different occupations have different lifespans, and when they fall into love, they finally come together. There will be a variety of tragedies. Therefore, after such tragedies continue to emerge, the door-to-door concept is becoming more and more popular among the upper-level aristocrats. Princess Olivia was not married when she married Caro, because Carlo Bonaparte is the elf of the wind, the heir to the legendary blood. The guests sent blessings one by one, and at the end there were only Princess Lucia and uninvited Miss Marnie. Princess Lucia sat in her position and stared at the stage for a long time. The bonfire in her heart burned, but there was a sense of frustration from the bottom of her heart. Who said that her cousin Natalia was a country wild donkey tomboy? Is it really the same person with this dignified and beautiful beauty in front of you? Princess Lucia knows that she is not a peerless woman, but Natalia in front of her is enough to be called, although there is still a difference in the charm of the Duke of Rose, but it is already the peak of mortals. Not only is beauty blameless, she is already a master of the Blood Knight, although the magician has a slight advantage over the Blood Knight, but the Master's card is a very remarkable achievement. I am already 26 years old. I am still only a high-ranking magician. This cousin is only 18 years old. It is already a Diamond Knight. Even if she is placed in the Talented King, she is only a few decades. Super genius. Compared with younger, better, and more beautiful cousins, Princess Lucia seems to find that Natalia seems to be more suitable for Ziwei than herself, except that she has a princess name. This reminds Lucia of the 26 years of life she has spent, the love of her mother, Barbara, the love of her father Charles VIII, and she seems to have wasted too much time on boring entertainment. In communication and banquet, there is never a goal in life, and there is no thinking about the future. After coming to Violet, Lucia found that she was not suitable for everything here. She liked the beautiful seaside environment, Lucia, but everyone around me was so excited and aggressive that she was used to leisurely. Unacceptable. But half a year has passed, and Lucia's mind has changed. Compared with the prosperous king who has been proud of her, Pai Li, although Violet is just a remote island, it is full of vigor, just like the morning sun, it is gradually rising, and the red light is spreading all over the earth, while the king is rich and luxurious, but full of decaying atmosphere, like dusk, although there is still a little afterglow, it is also unseen. Fresh breath, cannot see the bright future. Lucia took the thinking and stiffly onto the high platform. Natalia adjusted her status in the moment she saw her cousin, and she returned to the most perfect and most impeccable form. She has already fought. Be prepared to cope with the provocations and attacks that the cousin may break out next. Lucia saw a pair of happy newcomers in front of her. Her nose was sour, and her conditional reflexes wanted to cover her face and escape from the Violet Palace. She fled the island of Violet and returned to the kingdom to completely forget this sad place. But there is still a voice in her heart calling, "Leave here, what you really like is this vibrant island, where you can find the goal of life and the direction of the future, you can be in the old life. Come out and meet a better future." Princess Lucia finally took all the hearts, and she never had Natalia in her eyes. She just looked at Ziwei, her eyes were full of reluctant love, and her eyes were still flowing with tears. Her voice was already start to tremble, "Mr. Westway, I wish you happiness." 11 Wei looked at the girl who was full of emotions and revealed his true feelings. He sighed with a sigh of relief. The beauty was heavy, but he was not the kind of greedy person. His feelings were enough and he could only be cherished. Miss Lucia, I believe that you will be happy too, Ziwei sincerely blessed. Princess Lucia took a carefully wrapped picture frame out of the space ring. Joe is the chief reporter of the Parley Daily Joe. This is a painting I painted, I hope you like it. The picture frame was wrapped in fine colored paper. Obviously, Princess Lucia did not want Ziwei to display the picture in public. Ziwei nodded and seriously took the picture. Princess Lucia turned and looked back again, sighing, white light flashing, and the whole person had left the Violet Palace. Natalia, who was ignored all the time, was completely shocked. She was already ready to tear up with her cousin, but she did not expect it to pass. Marnie was even more surprised. Before she went out, Princess Lucia was still a volcano ready to explode in anger. How could this change the style of melancholy and sadness? She had planned to let Natalia out of ugliness in public. Fortunately, she was not stupid enough to change the situation. She also quickly sent her blessings. Finally, Count Carlos Bonaparte and Princess Olivia joined hands to go to the high platform, and gave an engagement ring to a couple of newcomers. Ziwei and Natalia put on each other for the other party. This engagement ceremony finally came to a brilliant end. Finally, in the snoring of all the guests and the Violet students, Ziwei and Natalia hugged each other, sweet kisses together. Time seems to be fixed at this moment, left to countless people sweet memories. Then the feast finally began, and the perfect dishes of different styles were delivered one after another. Almost everyone enjoyed the meal with satisfaction. 8 meow 8 by, asterisk, GE $8. After the big meal, all the tables and chairs were taken up, the hall of the entire Violet Palace became a dance scene, and Mrs. Winchell personally played a brisk movement, and the entire venue was also caught in the ocean of joy. Since the proportion of males in the Violet is far greater than that of women, every girl present has become the focus of many people, especially those who are the best. Student President Esmeralda saw a bad situation, quickly pulled out Jude from several little girls, turned his brother into his own partner and shield, and Trees was with his little maid, Tracy. Jumped up the cheerful dance steps. Madam, I wonder if I can invite you to dance a song. Master Morris invited an invitation to Mrs. Blacktail. Of course, I haven't enjoyed such a happy time for a long time. Lady Blacktail gave her hand to the palm of Morris's hand and responded with a smile. I mean, are we too stupid? Fawaway complained angrily to his partner. Although the male-female ratio of the Violet Academy is a bit unbalanced, it shouldn't be. I am the most popular among students. The sixth mentor. I don't know why, I guess maybe your tonnage is too big, the little girl is afraid of being flattened by your feet. Lyndon responded helplessly, you really should lose weight, be careful. Ah, damn fat pig, you step on my foot, it hurts me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 490. Happy times are always coming soon, and the busy study life begins again, but now the students of Violet are full of fighting spirit, and the entire college is full of exuberant atmosphere. Under this circumstance, the 18th issue of the Journal of Violet was released very quickly. This academic journal, which was first founded 9 months ago, has only 8 editions and has gradually been added to the full 64 edition. Enriched into a comprehensive magic newspaper, the magician who majored in any school can find valuable content of his concern in this journal. However, the 18th issue of the Journal of Violet has attracted unprecedented attention, because from this issue, the publication of the paper in the Journal of Violet will directly obtain the arcane points, and the arcane points are again with the arcanist. This is full of glory career hooks. Early in the morning, there was a long queue in front of the library. In the past, each issue of the Journal of Violet was first appeared here, allowing students to borrow. The library was only opened during the 9th magic time in the morning, but now it is only the 7th magic in the morning. The sun in the late autumn is not so dazzling, and the warm and humid air in the western Golden Sea seems to be much colder. I heard that there is an arcane score evaluation directly after each paper in this issue of the Journal of Violet. If you meet the 10 arcane points required by a 1-star arcane master, you can register directly at Morningstar Tower. Becoming a glorious arcane master, a tall, burly man excited and talking to his classmates in front of him. They are all freshmen who just entered school in September this year, still in the magic apprentice stage. Hanks, this is what happened to you outside the library so early on the first day. It really surprised me. The boy standing in front of him was thinner. He was wearing a white shirt and he was holding a big book. Looked, being able to publish a paper on the Violet Journal is at least a formal magician. You are still far behind. Crus, don't you have a dream? The last time I gave 15 arcane divisions in the Morningstar Tower, but apart from President Zyway and Professor Christine, everyone else is not our Violet. But this time no the same, our Violet Academy will be born a new arcane master, they may even be a student identity, the burly man named Hanks unhappy retorted. You are not wrong with this inference. In the past 17 issues of the Journal of Violet, 35.2% of the papers were published by students, but it is not clear how much the weight of the journal is, how difficult it is to obtain the 10 arcane points. Cruz closed his thick basic magic theory and turned to look at the long dragon behind him. It's a spectacular scene, and there are 852 people in the queue. It's a metamorphosis, you should be a shooter, Hanks muttered. Your beast has a keen instinct. My ancestor used to be Newfoundland's most famous marksman. He once hunted a 6th-order magic creature. Cruz showed a brilliant smile. Dynamic vision is a gift from the ancestors, my gift, but the magician is obviously cooler than the shooter, isn't it? Ha ha ha, that's right, my father is a most traditional knight. Our family has been working for the Earl of Steiger for 9 consecutive generations, but I actually rely on the president of Zyway to teach you 1 month. The magic apprentices learned the zero-loop spell and caused an uproar in us. Hanks was clearly resonated. I very much agree with the words of President Zyway. Arcane will eventually change the world, magic is gradually becoming popular, this is a new direction of human evolution, we were born in this golden age, maybe even in the future. Leave your name on the history book. Cruz shrugged and his eyes filled with hope for the future. Finally, when the library was open, a long stream of people with more than 1,000 people began to flow in. Almost everyone went straight to the area of the Journal of Violet and began the lending process. Haha, freshly baked, it's still hot. Hanks squeezed out of the crowd and smiled and raised the colorful newspaper in his hand. Let's have a look, I can't wait. Cruz shook his head and pointed to the keep quiet sign on the side of the aisle. Hanks quickly slammed his mouth and sat down at the seat next to Cruz. The cover of the new issue of the Violet Journal was divided into upper and lower parts. The upper part was the furious thunder and the golden lightning that tore the sky. Some are strange instruments and instruments, coils. The black-faced title on the cover is so eye-catching, the new feature of lightning in a steady state, Meryl. Mellow's mentor's cover paper. I guess she is the next arcane master, Hanks said with excitement to crossage against Cruz. Of course, this is the cover paper, Cruz also responded with transportation, he has opened the 2nd edition. The Westway tutor has made a lot of pioneering explorations on the phenomenon of the 2 old magical systems of electricity and magnetism in the article Electromagnetic Induction, the expansion of the new field of elemental school, which has inspired me a lot. All lightning spells can't be accurately mastered even by the caster. No one can know how much damage the lightning pike that he projected can cause damage. For this reason, I tried to make a stable power supply in a variety of ways. I chose a variety of materials. The following are the experimental ideas and processes at various stages, and the results. Ultimately, I made a stable low-voltage power supply, which corresponds to the element pool. I call it battery. I define the unit of electricity as capra, referred to as card, symbol C. I define the unit of voltage as volt-ella, referred to as volts, symbol V. The unit in which I define current is ayacho, A for short, symbol A. It's an incredible article. A new field opened up by President Zhiwei. Merrill's mentor independently completed the construction of the Grand Palace. This paper should not be published in the journal. I think it is fully qualified to publish it in Arcane. Cruz looked up with excitement and shouted excitedly, completely forgetting to use traveling. Yes. Brother, you are right, his words quickly resonated, but he was not sitting in Hanks, but another tall boy in the distance. He turned around, happy to wave a hand at Cruz. Almost in an instant, the originally quiet library became a noisy sea. It must be known that Merrill's mentor has always been a recognized mentor for all violets, but she is only 7 years old and everyone is watching. Inner. Now the director of Merrill's mentor is so excellent and constructive, but it has not been published in Arcane, which is really unfair. Quiet, the librarian's words instantly silenced the entire hall. Please don't be embarrassed, otherwise please go out. Cruz sat down and turned directly to the final score of the paper. The very outstanding works and experiments are completely different from the experiments of traditional ideas. Ms. Merrill has independently completed the in-depth exploration of the electric field and defined a large number of new units. The lightning mystery in the steady state has opened its doors to us. This paper will receive 300 arcane points. Congratulations to Merrill's mentor for promotion to the 4-star Arcane Master. 300 arcane points, 4-star Arcane Master. One of the first Arcane Masters to publish a paper on the inaugural issue of Arcane, and a Magic Master at the Royal Academy of Magic in France, won only 150 arcane points and ended up being a Samsung Arcane. But the 300 arcane points earned by Merrill's mentor in this paper pushed her directly to the position of the 4-star Archean, with Professor Christine. Can the papers in the Journal of Violet also get such a huge amount of arcane points? Instant Cruises dissipated the injustice that this paper failed to publish on Arcane. Even he can think of the deep meaning behind this paper. The principals of the President and the Journal of Zhiwei want to use this huge amount of arcane points to completely ignite the passion of Violet research, development, and innovation. Cruz has not seen every paper in its entirety. He quickly read through the entire Journal of Violet. Almost all papers have been awarded arcane points. Of course, most of them are in 0.5-5. It is not uncommon to get 10 arcane points in a paper and become an Arcane Master directly. Among these lucky and successful people, Cruz saw a name that was astounding, such as Professor Morris, such as the fat and humorous Faraway mentor, the administrator of the Arcane Garden, Professor Linden, Professor M.R.S. Winschell, who is emotionally magical, and student president Esmeralda and Violet Nova, trees. Esmeralda seized a total of 20 arcane points with a deep-sea plane marine life study, blood flow transformation experiment, which was directly promoted to a 1-star Arcane Master, even as a second author. Also got 5 arcane points. And Violet Nova Trees also got 15 arcane points with a new interpretation of spells, exploring the beginning protection spells to help him become a 1-star Arcane Master. In this issue of the Journal of Violet, 12 people have won more than 10 arcane points. They only need to go to the Morning Star Tower to register and receive their own arcane badge and become a glorious Arcane Master. Among the 12 people, there are 3 exchange students from the Royal Academy of Magic in France. In fact, the half-year exchange period has ended. Most of the magicians from Parley have already boarded the Violet and set off on the return journey, but there are also more than a dozen people have stayed. They have learned more here, and it seems that Violet is a better choice than returning to Par. To everyone's surprise, Princess Lucia also stayed. Her attitude is very determined. Many people went to persuade did not let her change the decision. With the publication of this issue of the Journal of Violet, it can be said that Esmeralda and Trees are even more famous. The other 10 new alchemists are either Violet professors and mentors, or high-level magicians. It is not surprising that they become archons. But Esmeralda and Trees are still only students. They have just been promoted to magicians not long, but they can become a one-star arcane master when they are just a magician. I don't know how many people have attended class with the president of the student and the Violet Star. I read the book in a study room and were in the same group in a magic test. They are the people who live around, but they use their hard work and wisdom to let everyone see the miracle. Those students who failed to publish in the Journal of Violet are highly motivated and ready to continue their contributions after conducting enough in-depth research. They are full of confidence in the future and firmly believe that one day they will be able to be like Esmeralda and Trey. ZE shines like this. The students who have published articles in the Journal of Violet, but only harvested 0.5 to 5 arcane points are not discouraged. They have seen the dawn of hope and believe that they have reached the right path. Even with the calmness of Esmeralda, after seeing that he really got 20 arcane points to become a one-star arcane master with this paper, he was excited to jump in the lab. It's a pity that I only have 5 arcane points. How can I get the remaining half? Jude extended his left hand and stared at his 5 fingers. Don't count on me anymore, I have helped you enough. Esmeralda immediately recovered calmly, her hands around her chest. You need to find a research topic yourself, and then experiment. This pair you are not difficult, my Jude magician. Well, listen to you, who will make you always correct. Yanda soft on the sofa, posing in the most comfortable position, eyes looked at the ceiling without a god. New topic, valuable new question, what should I choose? Choose your best areas of your favorite. Only enough hobbies and enthusiasm can make you spark a lot of wisdom, Esmeralda gave advice. Is best at the favorite field? I think about it. Jude fell into meditation. After a long time, he suddenly jumped 3 feet high and shouted excitedly, I have it. What are you doing? Esmeralda turned helplessly from the desk and asked. I found the research field that I like best. Jude joined the sister's side and bent down and said with a smile. What is it? Esmeralda licked her hair and asked casually. After my practice research, once a man and a woman fall into love, they only have each other in their eyes, and the other person in the eyes will be more beautiful and handsome. Is this just psychological and emotional? Is there any other reason? This is a subject worth studying. Is a field of emotional magic. I think Mrs. Winchell will give me some help. Jude blinked. I am really convinced. Esmeralda stood up and pushed the very close brother away. To study your love secrets, don't bother me. To be continued. Arcane Age. Author, Yulin Dudu. Chapter 491. Trizer, congratulations. Your paper has been published, and you have obtained 15 arcane points. You are about to become an arcane master. Tracy holds a copy of the Journal of Violet. Run into the lab of Trees. This is really good news. Trees is studying how to improve the spell template, and the spell model in front of it shines with blue light. 12 people have reached the requirements of the arcanists through this journal. Among them, Meryl's mentor has obtained a total of 300 arcane points with a new feature of lightning in a steady state, and directly promoted to 4 stars. Arcanist, Tracy showed the color cover of the journal to Trees. It is foreseeable that in the era of arcane surgery, the field of research of the arcans will be greatly expanded, and it will be refined in each field. It can be forward-looking in almost all frontier fields like the president of Zyway. The talents of opinion and achievements are absolutely rare. Most people will make choices in so many fields and then move forward firmly. Trees took the newspaper and sighed, but I am still only one ring magician, for the time being, does not need to be eager to seek success. The study of arcane theory also needs enough level of magician as a foreshadowing, otherwise many times it can only fall into a fantasy and cannot be empirical. In the Violet students, only you and Esmeralda are promoted to a 1-star arcane master. Trees, you are already amazing. After all, We started learning magic for just 1 year. Tracy began to comfort. You are right, I am really in a hurry. As I learn and master more knowledge, I find myself so small and ignorant, and there are too many unknown mysteries waiting for me to learn and exploring. This makes me a bit tired. Maybe I need to give myself a short vacation and adjust my mood. Trees used cleansing and walked out of the lab. Great, then let's go swimming? I applied for the admission card of the swimming pool very early. As a result, the summer has passed and it is about to expire soon. Tsuxi showed an excited expression and happily raised it. Suggest. Well, although I have been soaking in the water for so many days in the deep sea plane, Trees thought about it and agreed with the little maid's proposal. In the 2-story log cabin outside the Arcane Garden, a simple gathering of friends is taking place, where the owner is Master Linden and the other two are lecturers Faraway and Ed. Ida has just returned from Palermo in Sicily. As the head of the Violet resident in Sicily, he grew very fast. The original short man has already been raised a lot, and his chin has also grown up. Come on, cheers, the trio quoted the orange-red low-grade fruit wine. As the earliest high-level magic apprentice, the students who had suffered together, the relationship between them has been very good. It's been a year since I've been there. I didn't expect you to have been promoted to the Arcanist at the same time, Ed's face with regret and stunned expression, although he has been promoted to the second ring magician, but because of the distance from the Violet, the Arcanist system is getting farther and farther away. It's just a 1-star arcane master. This time, 2 of our students have also been promoted to the Arcanist. It's really dull, Lyndon said modestly, he also took one last year. It's oily, but now he is calm like a big tree. The days in Palermo are doing well. There is a Sin City, a magical city that you can't think of, you can't do. Faraway smiled and smiled at Ed. Yes, Palermo is indeed a magical place, full of colors, dreams of fascination. Ed looked at the wine glass in front of him, and his eyes turned amber. Mine, beauty, power, interests, wealth. This is the secular. It is totally different from the experience of my life in the past 16 years. Beauty? Isn't your kid a virgin? Faraway decisively grasped the point. He slammed Ed's shoulder and shouted. Yes, fascinating life is the most luxurious luxury hotel in Palermo. The Ms. Monica, the person in charge, is very friendly to me. It is there. I said goodbye to the nursery rhymes. Ed raised his head and revealed his awkwardness. Smile. Oh, I didn't think that among the 3 of us, you are the youngest one. Actually, the first one to say goodbye to the virgin career is really enviable. Faraway shook his head and looked envious. I want to change with you, but is the president of Zyway willing? Ed poured a large glass of wine and said helplessly. The whole audience was silent. After all, in the dark night before dawn, Ed's performance was too disappointing. It is a very good result to have the present situation. Speaking, I have confirmed the relationship with Naya. After the dance of the Violet Palace last time, I invited Naya to dance. We talked very happily. Lyndon broke the silence and said his secret. Naya? The very shy little girl who works in the Arcane Garden. Faraway's speed is like a thunderbolt. That's a cute little girl. My God, why are you 2? They are all in front of me. I am the 6th most popular tutor in Violet. You are too oily, and women will think that you are not reliable. Lyndon pointed out the shortcomings of Faraway. You are such a body, the woman who can fall in love with you must not have a picture. Ed looked up and down the general body of Faraway Ball, sighed. I wanted to lose weight very early, but I have been unable to control my appetite. Snacks, desserts, bread, beef. Faraway's palms were intertwined, his fingers were pinched together, and he was dejected and said, but I really can't do it. I can't lose weight, but I am getting fatter. You are a 1-star arcane master. Arcane masters can do anything, then study the mystery of obesity, and then solve this problem. Lyndon made his own suggestion. You are right, brother. Fa Wei's emotions instantly returned from the bottom to the top of the mountain. He jumped excitedly. I have decided. My next topic is to study the secret of obesity. I will definitely lose weight. I must be a standard beauty man when I lose weight, maybe even more handsome than Ziwei. Ha ha ha, even if you are more handsome than Ziwei, you can't attract the beautiful magician like Charlotte and Meryl, Lyndon sneered without hesitation. Speaking, do you often contact Charlotte, Yang, and Meryl? Ed transferred the topic. In our high-level apprentices, the earliest relationship between Charlotte and Palin was very good. She has not been able to afford us 3. Fa Wei poured a drink. Yang has always been such a quiet person. He is not far from anyone. Meryl is a high-level magic apprentice with Ziwei. They have a very good relationship from the beginning. They are usually very busy, studying, researching, experimenting, teaching, our life. There is almost no intersection. No way, talent is there, everyone must face up to themselves. Lyndon sighed. Compared to 2 years ago, our situation is very good now. There is no Ziwei. Even if we did not die the hand of Trang, I am afraid I still try to promote the official magician every day. I can only say that he is like a shining star in the sky, or a dragon flying in the sky. We can't keep up, we can only stand on the ground. Toast for our luck, Fa Wei opened his hands and shouted. Toast for our luck, Ed whispered, killing a full glass of wine. Don't open the picture that my cousin sent you. The 3-story master bedroom of the Violet Palace. Natalia sat cross-legged on the bed. She only wore a white shirt, and the bare white legs were bare. Looking at Ziwei sharply, 2 days after the engagement ceremony, she finally couldn't hold her breath. I almost forgot. Ziwei snapped a finger and took out the painting from Princess Lucia from the space ring. Natalia grabbed the hand and just tore all the wrapping paper on the surface of the frame. This painting also appeared in front of the two. Who is this man? Natalia looked at the strange man who appeared on the oil painting. He had a tall, thin body, looked good, dressed in a dark blue uniform, and was kneeling at the desk. A quill is writing and drawing, and the magic light on the table is still lit with dim light. Joe Bradley, the chief reporter of the Pars Daily. I used to be an identity in Parley, and the interview and photography for Princess Lucia was done in this capacity known as the master's painting skills. He can naturally see that the Princess Lucia should have not studied oil painting before, but in this painting, she poured a lot of sincere feelings, so as to make up for the slightly green painting skills. This is a very good piece and it is worth collecting. What she always likes is not the master of Westway, but the reporter of Joe Bradley. Natalia was amazed. I think maybe she is not clear about herself. Lucia's life is too dull. My appearance is like a stone thrown into a calm lake. It was just a moment of incitement, but it finally became her heart. Don't go to the brand, Ziwei said with emotion. Hey, Natalia shook her head unhappy, and said proudly, forget it, forget it. It seems that my cousin is really a poor and lonely woman. I don't want to always regard her as a woman-love rival. You are really magnanimous. 11 Wei reached out to Natalia's waist. Although she was a blood knight, she was not an uncoordinated muscular woman because of the improvement of her breathing. The standard proportion, and has many levels of health and vitality than ordinary women. I will leave Violet tomorrow. This trip should not be so calm, Ziwei said softly on Natalia's lips, said softly. I really want to go adventure and travel with you, just like when we were in the deep sea, Natalia responded enthusiastically to Ziwei, and the sigh of breath spread between the two. Violet also needs people to sit down. I am only assured of you. Ziwei's words let Natalia's heart swell. Compared to companionship, she needs more recognition and appreciation. So what about Charlotte? Let her stay with you. Natalia thought about it. After thinking for a moment, Ziwei shook his head. This journey is still potentially dangerous. Although Charlotte has worked hard, Her strength is still lacking. I am afraid I can't protect her at the crucial moment. Okay, then you are still alone. Natalia looked straight at the eyes of Ziwei. I am full of confidence in you, Ziwei, come on. Do not worry, Nada, my lover. Good nights are not to be missed, we still start to enjoy. Don't worry, there is still one person missing. Natalia shakes the bell in front of the bed, and soon the door it was open, wearing a red pajamas, like a blooming red peony. Charlotte appeared in such a beautiful holding pillow. The next morning, Ziwei left the island of Violet and set foot on the journey again. This trip is very crucial. Ziwei's actions will largely determine history and the future. Above the sky of the Violet, 11 Wei, wearing a blue mage robe, stood quietly, waiting for someone. Looking back, a dark-haired woman in a white dress stood quietly on the side of Ziwei. She was just 0 from the smooth plane. Compared to the legendary magic of the 9 rings, compared to the legendary magical object of the etheric ball, only 0 is the last barrier in the heart of Ziwei, and it is also the source of power for him to continue to move forward. 3 days have disappeared, and it has been reduced. Zivila lived with 0 hands. You are now a real person, you have your own soul, have your own body, don't need to be too tired. Don't I feel heartbroken when I live in a life without a break like a smart core? Do not worry, Ziwei, I have never been so happy like now. 0 smiles like, I used to live for you, now I have been living for myself. I like it. This world, like to pursue the mystery of the world itself. Ziwei, I think I am the perfect arcane master in your heart. 11 Wei's body trembled softly, and he found this after he got a 0 reminder. The perfect arcane master in his heart is not himself. Although he has a wide enough vision, he can patiently persist, but the exploration of theory and origin is not true love and interest, but only means and purpose. The perfect arcane master in his heart is not himself, but 0, the most important partner in his life. He even hopes that she can become a real person than 0. 0, I think you need to stand in front of the stage. I cannot always monopolize the glory and honor that belongs to you. You are the most perfect arcane master, Ziwei said sincerely. Let's wait, Ziwei 0 thought, I still need some time to study and progress. I am not perfect enough now, as a person. Everyone listens to you, then let's go. 11 Wei and 0 launched a long-distance transmission spell and went straight to Wangdu Pi Li, to be continued.